Okay. We're back in business. Hello. It's been a hot while. It's been really fun talking to you about this week about Resident Evil and with a girlfriend, of course. Thanks for sharing your insight. No problem. Sorry if I'm a little tired today. I'm almost at 100%, but I still feel a little tired. Could be the weather, could be just the fact that I haven't fully completely recovered, but we're getting there. I'm getting there slowly but surely. So yeah, this stream naturally won't be very long. I had hoped to do like a proper stream coming back and all that. I wanted to upload a video, but just been sick for like the past week or so. It's annoying too. It's like I'm not even I'm not even like fully sick. That's the annoying part. It's like I'm on that verge of being sick. You know that feeling where you're like, I feel like I'm pretty close to being sick, but I'm not sick. I just have like all these like shitty symptoms. That's pretty much where I was at, and that's kind of pretty much where I've been at. And I've been slowly but surely recovering. It sucked. I had to like sit down in my room and just play Final Fantasy 14. I finished grinding like a relic step, which for anyone who's played like Final Fantasy 14, like you know how bullshit that is. Final Fantasy 14 relic grinds are like the most bullshit crap in the world. So I finished, I had so much time just sitting down doing nothing that I was able to finish like a really dumb relic step where it's like I don't know, it was played 14, the Dawn Trail relic. That's what I finished. I finished like the Atma Dawn Trail relic step, and that shit was fucking ass. But I did it. Anyways, I'm back. I'm not gonna talk. We're not talking about 14 today. We're talking about the girlfriend today. So I actually did have some time to write on my away time. I had some time to write a little bit. I was able to upload a little bit of what I had written onto Twitter. Well, some of it's actually different from what I initially wrote. So we could start with this. We could start with something else. I focused a lot on Ruka with this one, and I think that was probably a good idea. So I guess I'll ease you guys into it. If you guys remember when we were reading the Umi chapters, I kept saying how like we kind of don't actually understand Umi, nor do we understand what the fuck is going on with Chizuru. And Reiji essentially leverages that with chapter 401 with Mami, where if you remember, Kazuya makes this dumb joke again right here, where he's like, damn it, there must be some kind of law that beautiful people have to be mysterious, right? And you apply that to Umi, to Chizuru, and to Mami, and now you could even apply it to Ruka, where if you think about it, we don't even really understand Ruka and what the fuck is going through her head right now. You think you do. You think you do, and then suddenly Reiji flips the book on you, and he's like, well, okay, it sounds like she already kind of knew a little bit of what's been going on this entire time. Did she know the whole time, or did she not? In the end of the line, the simple thing that Reiji's leveraging here is that we have no fucking clue what these characters are thinking. For as much as we think we understand them, we don't. And he's using that to full effect to create this sense of whiplash, which is a very smart technique to do for a few different reasons. So I'm gonna give you guys a movie recommendation. For anyone who's for anyone who doesn't usually watch much movies, go watch the movie Whiplash. Go watch the movie Whiplash. I watched that movie when it like first came out in theaters. I remember thinking it was amazing, and I only started to like really appreciate how twisted and fucked up it is like much later. But this is really interesting because one, when you get into a car crash, you feel whiplash because you feel like that. And what's Kazuya been studying? What's Kazuya been essentially studying? Driving. And you could essentially view what we just experienced with Ruka as a form of whiplash. Like it was a big car crash. right? It's just a big whiplash. Now, I mentioned whiplash when we were reading the chapters, where I essentially highlight this. 1 second, it's comedic. You turn the page and it's not funny anymore, right? So it's like Reishi makes this like joke in Kazuya's head, and then you literally turn the page right here, and you feel this sense of like uncomfortable disgust in Kazuya's character, where he feels so bothered by what he's just feeling. You turn the page, again, there's this like joke of him thinking she's like a mistress or something, and then again, there's this like sense of disgust in himself. And Reishi essentially keeps doing that, creating that sense of whiplash, because that's essentially what abuse can feel like. Abuse can essentially feel like whiplash, where you're just like that, and it's like your brain just got rocked. So the whiplash effect is being used, one, to create that sense of uncomfortability, and I think a lot of people would misinterpret that as like bad writing, because of how Reishi is using it. Two, the way that it's being used, where it's essentially contrasting two ideas very quickly and very heavily, is effective for the characters too, because essentially they're feeling like an internal sort of whiplash, while we're also experiencing an external form of whiplash. For Kazuya, the whiplash we experience is in his head. For Ruka, the whiplash we experience is through her demeanor. So again, you see this right here. And then we cut to this, and this is like a completely different character. This is whiplash, right? 1 second, she's like this, emotional, heart beating like crazy. She's like, she seems sad, something's going on. The next second, she comes off as incredibly intimidating and in control, and it's scary, and you're just like, what the fuck am I interacting with? That whiplash is intentional. Furthermore, Reishi adds one final bit of whiplash in the very end of the chapter, where it's Chizuru, right? Chizuru is brought back to create this sense of ease, because you're just like, oh my god, we haven't seen her in like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? The last time we saw her was like 398, like properly. 399 doesn't really count, because that one, it's like Chizuru isn't really there. Right? And then for most of these chapters, Chizuru has not been present. So at the very least, like 6 chapters of no Chizuru whatsoever. Suddenly Chizuru comes back, and you're excited. But she sure as fuck seems out of it, and nothing seems good. So when Chizuru comes back, it both feels like a good thing and a bad thing. Because on one hand, you're like, oh my god, I feel a real sense of relief. My favorite kid, like the homie is back. You feel a sense of comfort getting Chizuru back. On the other hand, you're scared shitless because, one, Chizuru is like fucking gone. She's like nowhere near them, for one. Like, okay, that you probably won't realize that, but two, she seems out of it. She seems totally out of it. Like literally not aware of her surroundings. Has no fucking idea what's going on. Right? So we don't know where Chizuru the fuck is. And she doesn't seem to be like in the like here's the best way I can describe it. Chizuru doesn't seem like she's here to save the day. Chizuru seems like she needs some fucking saving, right? So you get this character who returns, and you feel a sense of comfort. And Chizuru always creates a sense of ease for you, and yet she doesn't feel like the one who's going to be saving any sort of fucking day. She needs saving. So suddenly, even when Chizuru comes back and you feel a sense of relief, you also feel a sense of dread, again creating a sense of whiplash. This entire chapter feels like just constant back and forth, literally you being swung around like a goddamn pendulum, right? You're not getting like a moment to breathe. I'm still trying to figure out what Reishi is planning. Like every character is being shown only for a short period of time, and even then you don't know what's going on with any of them. And that's the point. That is the point. I wrote a little bit about this. We'll read about it in just a second. But I've come to realize that's what he's doing on purpose. He's showing characters in a very particular way. And that particular way does something very important. He shows them for a short time, and in that short time, he has completely flipped your perception of them. What you think you understood about them has been completely flipped on its head, right? And then they disappear. And you don't have answers. And suddenly you're frustrated. And he does this again and again and again. To the point that you're like, getting really like is frustrated, not because you have this build up feelings of just what is going on. I don't understand. And this is important. Why? Because when you were going through the cohabitation arc, you felt a real sense of comfort. You felt like you understood what was going on. It made sense. You were able to like hear what a character said and understand what's going on. Now, nothing makes sense. And you're scared, and you're confused, and you kind of miss those old days. This is literally what adulthood feels like. This is why he's doing this. You're meant to be completely confused and feel like you don't know what the author is doing. What is the plan here? I don't get it. Because that's literally what adulthood feels like. You don't know what the fuck is going on. 1 second, you feel like you understand what's going on. You know how the world works. The next second, nothing makes any fucking sense. You don't understand the characters. You don't understand the story. You don't know what the fuck is happening. You don't even know where it's going. Literally adulthood. And he's literally, the narrative structure is mirroring the theme and the core theme of growing up. Because that's where we are right now. We're essentially growing up. And we don't know what's happening by design. It's not meant to be logical either. Right? What Ruka is doing and how Ruka is appearing is not meant to be logical. It's clear Kazuya is actively thinking again as he has come to the conclusion himself that whatever this is with Ruka needs to end if it doesn't go right away. See, that's the thing. That's what I think Reiji did. In utilizing this effectiveness, in utilizing this traumatizing experience, what this did is suddenly Kazuya feeling these thoughts is a negative thing again. In so doing, he's essentially fighting these thoughts that he's let run wild for a while. So what's been happening is a lot of these thoughts that we've seen for a while with Kazuya essentially just lets them run wild and then creates an excuse for himself. So here's a great example. We were just looking at this chapter 401. Kazuya is in his room. He imagines mommy in a horny way, and then he excuses it by saying, "Stupid idiot, my heart already belongs to Mizuhara. There's no reason to think that would even happen." Pay attention to his wording. Okay, then if it did happen, it might be a good thing, right? He's not really processing this. He's just letting these thoughts run wild and then giving excuses to not think about them. But he's not actually actually dealing with these thoughts. He's just saying, don't think about it, right? It's when someone distracts themselves from an issue rather than just actually embracing it. You have to embrace it. You can't just keep distracting yourself forever. And that's what he's doing here. He gets the thought, he lies to himself, and then he just runs away from it. He's mentally running away from these issues. Now, notice what he starts doing now. Because of what he just experienced with Ruka, whenever he gets these thoughts, he doesn't like them anymore. They're bothering him. Because suddenly these thoughts are associated with these negative things that he doesn't like anymore. So now he kind of has this thing where he has to combat these thoughts. He can't just let them run wild. What Kazuya has essentially been experiencing has been essentially an addiction. It's this addiction to feeling good. Or, in a better way, instant gratification. What Kazuya has been going through, and what a lot of people on the internet and a lot of people go through regularly, is instant gratification. Or, if you want me to get deeper into it, it's the sin of lust, where you feel this thing and you want it so badly that you're willing to do it even though you don't like it. Say, for example, beating your meat. Some dudes haven't really addressed this aspect of themselves, right? So you know how a lot of people on YouTube and shit or online or whatever tell you pornography is terrible for you and all that stuff. And there is a truth to that, don't get me wrong. But for example, a lot of dudes will beat their meat, they'll watch porn or something, and then they'll feel terrible after. They'll hate themselves after. But that's the thing. You're essentially just letting it build up, and you're not dealing with the issue. And then when it eventually comes back and bothers you, you're not ready for it. You're not actually addressing the problem until it festers and festers, and then it explodes, and then you feel bad afterwards. You hate yourself afterwards because you gave in. You're like, how could I give in? You're not making an active choice to deal with the fucking problem, right? You're not actually making an active choice to deal with that problem. Whereas someone who has, for example, embraced the fact that, yeah, okay, I watched this stuff, but like I'm aware and a little bit more in control, wouldn't feel bad after doing the deed because they know they're in control of the choice rather than the emotion controlling them. Reiji has been doing this with a lot of things recently. I talk about this in the thing that I posted. There's a part where I talk about addiction because it's essentially addiction is the thing Reiji's kind of exploring with Ruka. So, for example, I understood the point of remember? Do you guys remember Minnie's creepy Kool-Aid drink where she's literally drinking black ooze? She's drinking this like weird, creepy black fucking ooze. You're like, what the fuck is she drinking? I understand the point of that now. Addiction. This is sugar. Rather than getting water because she's just been running the whole fucking time, she goes and gets sugar because it feels better. The sugar makes you feel better, but it's not actually good for you. Right? Then you have Ruka feeling literal lust, more like traditional lust. And guess what? She turns on pornography, turns away from it. She feels this lust. She keeps desiring this thing, but it keeps freaking her out. And so you're having this paradox with Ruka, right? So you have sugar, pornography. What did Reiji also show us? Alcohol. All of these things are addictive. And then of course, finally, social media, AI, another addictive thing that tells you how to feel. And what is AI mirroring? Now I even understand the whole point of AI even more. The characters have been essentially controlled by their emotions this entire time. So the characters turning to AI and AI telling them what to feel literally mirrors how their emotions are telling them what to do. They're not in control of their emotions. Their emotions are in control of them. And that is what Reiji's doing. He's exploring this idea of addiction to love, where you're essentially addicted to the idea of love. You're not actually like experiencing it properly because love is a choice. Love is something you must actually do. Ruka could go crazy and refuse to accept the rejection. Considering the spoilers are out, we're not talking about that. I don't know if you've read that, and I'm not going to engage with this. I already said there's a possibility Ruka could get angry. I already said this. There's a possibility Ruka could get angry, as Ruka has been essentially going through the steps of grief. So we've seen denial, we've seen bargaining, we've seen possible signs of anger when she was like on top of him and she was like forcing the situation. What we're seeing right now seems like it's either building to anger or it's like a mix of anger, guilt, and depression. And to me, it seems like Ruka is like building towards acceptance. So I don't know. I don't see Ruka going crazy and refusing to accept the rejection. I actually don't see that, interestingly enough. I could be wrong, but I don't see that. This isn't the same Ruka that we saw at before Hawaiians. This is not the same Ruka. This is a different character. And what we're seeing with her is clearly not the same thing. And I'll explore that later. But the fact that Reiji is showing all of these addictive substances or addictive things, whether it be social media, pornography, sugar, alcohol, God knows whatever, and the temptation of that addiction and the characters fighting that addiction or dealing with it in some way, shape, or form, or even giving into it in Ruka's case, I think is something Reiji is trying to explore. I kind of have this feeling Reiji's trying to explore this idea of addiction and how it changes you and how you seemingly become like a different person due to these addictions. Because you like if you're in control, you can interact with these things and not lose yourself in it. So like pornography isn't necessarily inherently bad. It can be, of course, right? It can be. But like with anything, if you teach people about it and you know how to engage with it, it's not necessarily that horrendous. Like there are cases where it like of course the industry itself is a problem, but I'm mostly talking about you engaging with it rather than the product itself, right? The industry and all that's a whole other discussion. But what Reiji is mostly talking about is how we engage with these things, how we interact with them, and how we feel about them, the control we have over ourselves, rather than the thing controlling us, right? Because love is about your choice, and so doing it's about your control, right? You have to have autonomy over yourself and your choices to decide what you want to do. So naturally, this idea of like being in control is kind of important in terms of love, because love is a choice, right? And if you're not in control of your actions and your feelings in love, are you really in love, right? There is definitely this unprecedented, these are definitely unprecedented chapters. So now, just like Reiji said that it'll be resolved in a few weeks or chapters, I'm more interested in how that'll play out. I'm currently not bothered by whatever happens with the other characters. So, okay, I've started to think about Ruka a little bit, and I'm starting to realize maybe what Ruka is going through might not be so cut and dry. What she did is wrong, and I think she knows what she did is wrong. But I think that entire situation might not be so cut and dry, because there is another layer to this that I think I've just recently come to realize, and it's going to be this issue where I think that despite Ruka secretly deep down knowing that this wasn't real, and she knows she's living a lie, I think in some ways Kazuya maybe did lead her on, and that essentially created we already said this, but maybe there's a little more to this. Kazuya maybe created this environment and not dealing with this issue sooner and not taking the initiative sooner. And I think this is something Reiji was building for a little bit, that because Kazuya didn't address this issue sooner, it escalated into what it did. But maybe there's a little more to this, and I'm not 100% sure. So this is just kind of like a thing that's like floating in the back of my mind, that maybe we don't understand Ruka as much as we think we do, but I'll hold off on that a little bit. Okay, let's see. What I'm more fascinated by is where Chizuru is going. We can see what Kazuya is doing, but what has Chizuru actually been doing while floating in space, love struck? I think she's just kind of living her life as she's been up until now, but her life is being impacted by her feelings because she's not in control of her love anymore, even though she doesn't understand her love. So her life is falling apart as a byproduct of her love. Kazuya is the reverse. Kazuya's life is falling up. Kazuya's life is falling apart, his love is falling apart as a byproduct of his life. They're flipped, right? So the way he's living his life is impacting his love. The way Chizuru is living her love is impacting her life. They're essentially flipped mirrors. So that's what's going on, where Chizuru's life is she knows what she kind of wants to do, but it's starting to like get impacted as a byproduct of her feelings that she's like not sure how to address or deal with. In contrast, Kazuya's choices in life are literally starting to impact his love, because guess what? Like, because he hasn't been really making good choices in life and he's been falling the fuck apart, his love is starting to like get really messy and scary, and he doesn't know where it's going to fucking go. And these are issues he has not addressed. So essentially what Reiji's doing is, because the characters lack balance in their love and their life, one or the other is falling apart. That's kind of the point. One or the other is falling apart because they don't have balance in another aspect. So Kazuya has no balance in his life, therefore his love is falling apart. Chizuru has no balance in her love, so her life is kind of starting to fall apart now, even though her life is what she's controlled up until this point. What Ruka did to Kazuya unintentionally give him the answer to why Chizuru kissed him in 395. It essentially created the precedent for it. It essentially created that's exactly kind of what it did. It sort of created the precedent for that, for him to eventually figure it out. That's kind of where we're going. We've essentially created the precedent for Kazuya to start figuring that out. But I don't think he'll just magically figure it out. I'm expecting a repeat of what happened with Mami, Kazuya not being able to say what he wants and Ruka dictating what happens. I would agree if the past few chapters had not been happening. And I don't know if you've read the spoilers, so again, I don't know how to engage with this. I would agree if the past few chapters had not happened. Now, I will say there is a chance Kazuya could hesitate to do something, but it's clear Kazuya knows he needs to do something. It's very, very clear he knows he needs to do something. Because this spiral will repeat if he chooses not to do anything. That's essentially what this chapter did. Hey, these are the consequences of your fucking actions. These are the consequences of your fucking actions. Okay, do you want this to happen again? That's essentially what these chapters have been. Okay, you lost complete fucking control of your life. Like, not only did you lose control, someone literally took it away from you because you were not taking the initiative. You were not making choices. Okay, what are you going to do? To me, this is Kazuya actually taking, like, autonomy back a little bit. He's like, okay, I got to actually fucking do something, right? I got to actually do... They are not out yet. Really? That's surprising. They're not out yet. Wow, that's surprising. Huh. Sweet. I just got the notification for Reddit, and it said the pre-release thread for chapter 406. The moment I see that, I just assume it's out, right? The moment I see that, I just assume it's out. So I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna brace for impact just in case. The spoilers will come out in 4 hours. Oh goody. So yeah, it seems like, oh man, I lost track of my thoughts. What was I saying? Look, don't ask me when Winter Girlfriend's gonna end. I don't fucking know. There is vibes that it could end soon. There are vibes that it's not gonna end anytime soon. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna end anytime soon. Reiji doesn't feel like the kind of writer to just kind of like end things when they get together. That he doesn't really feel like that kind of writer where he just ends it when they get together. That feels kind of dumb. I don't think so. I think many people expect the ending to be when they get together. I think that's stupid, and I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. I think we've got a while. I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. Even though this looks like a big step, like here's my issue. I think people are misinterpreting change with endings, where this is a big change and it will result in the end of a relationship with Ruka. That doesn't mean it's the end of the story. We're essentially ending a part of the story. We're not ending the story. Like, this is what Reiji is setting up here is the end of an aspect of the narrative. An aspect that has existed for a while needs to end. That's essentially what he's saying, but he's not saying the story is ending. It's a new beginning. So this aspect is ending. The story itself doesn't necessarily ending. And I think people are just like misinterpreting that. They'll see these signs, they'll think some sort of big change is coming, and they'll think it's ending. It's not. It's not. Reiji has said for a while he's not going to end this anytime soon. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I don't think he's going to end it anytime soon. I think we're going to get signs that it's ending, but it's not going to end anytime soon. I think at the very least, like, even if he may end it, Gunnar author, dude, literally half the authors you read are Gunnar authors. I bet you almost all of the authors you read are Gunnar authors. Like, clown ass shit, bro. Gunnar author. Dude, Fujimoto's a Gunnar. He openly so. The guy who writes Chainsaw Man, openly a Gunnar. Gunnar. People just like toss these words around. They don't know what the fuck they mean. They just read like, oh, he likes women. He must be a Gunnar. A dude likes women. Must be a Gunnar. Oh man. I would love a spin-off with Chizuru and Kazuya during their married life. Why would that be a spin-off? Why would that be a spin-off? It ends abruptly with the author's death. Wait, is this It's Soren No Kiss is a short-term romance drama series that went from high school to college to the main couple marrying to them years into their marriage and having a kid. It ends abruptly with the author's death. Are you referring to Rent a Girlfriend ending abruptly, or are you referring to this ending abruptly? Because of course Rent a Girlfriend would probably end abruptly with the author's death. No shit. Yeah, no shit. Like, yeah. If, God forbid, Reiji died, well, yeah. It would just end. The first one? What was the first one? I already forgot. The shoujo ended abruptly. Well, you spoiled it for someone. I don't give a shit. You spoiled it for someone. I don't give a shit. But yeah, I guess that sucks. Any story ends abruptly with the author's death. That kind of like that happened with Berserk. Unfortunately, they're still like continuing it, but it's not actually Miura doing it himself. You know, so to me, Berserk did end. In that chapter that we got, it was over there. Everything afterwards is like interesting. It was these conceptual ideas he had, but it's still not him. So to me, it's still kind of like over there. Dragon Ball is a little bit different. Dragon Ball kind of like is like a huge thing that's like kind of everybody's. It started with Akira Toriyama, and even though he's gone, it's still kind of like part of him. But Dragon Ball, if you guys don't know, has always been kind of the amalgamation of everything and everyone. So like the anime directly inspired how Dragon Ball itself played out. And like the anime did certain things better than the manga, and Akira Toriyama openly said it did. And then there's things that like the manga just did better than Akira Toriyama did. Akira Toriyama did things better than the anime did. And that's the thing. It's like, I think Dragon Ball is like that weird, cool case where it's kind of everybody's love child, but it is still Akira Toriyama's. So it's like, it's a little different. I think in Reiji's case, Rent a Girlfriend is completely his. Berserk's case, it's the same thing. It's completely Miura's. It's like nobody really else's. It's their story. Nobody's really else gonna fucking take it. The adventures of Minnie before she moved next door to Chizuru and Kazuya would be interesting. I think that's mainline story. I actually think that's mainline story. The mystery around Minnie's character has been a big aspect of the narrative, and I feel like that's main story. So is Mami, so is Ruka. Sumi was just kind of like a side character, like more side than any of the other characters. So her kind of getting her own spinoff just kind of made some sense. But everybody else is like very core narrative. It doesn't feel like it would work. Do you, Fate, really believe that theater play isn't Chizuru's focus either? Look, the simple truth is we have no fucking clue what the deal is with that play. We have no fucking clue what the deal is with that play. We don't, like, my initial assessment is like maybe the play isn't real. Now I think, okay, maybe the play is real, but it's kind of weird that we're not seeing it at all. We haven't seen her rehearse or anything. So that's kind of weird. The play to me is just a very strange thing that we don't have information on. And we're intentionally not being shown things in regards to the play. So we don't fucking know. Again, Reiji's leveraging this thing of, you don't fucking know. And you're constantly being told, hey, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know. Learn. You gotta start knowing. You can't live in this fiction forever. When you're a kid, you have the luxury of not knowing, right? When you're a kid, you have the luxury of not knowing. It's okay. A lot of your choices are kind of decided for you. Like, you're kind of live in a comfortable environment. When you become an adult and you start realizing how little you know, you start getting a little scared and frustrated. And that's going to constantly be there. Some people, what they'll do, and essentially kind of similar to what Kazuya did, is escape. They'll be content not knowing by like focusing on these other things they think they know. And eventually it's going to catch up to you. And you're going to be scared shitless because you're going to be like, I don't like not knowing and not having control over my life. Because that's scary. We live in a world where when you're not informed, other people make choices for you, whether you know it or not. And a part of that starts with you yourself. You gotta fucking learn. So, for example, rich people essentially decide everything for us. You don't really have a fucking choice. Rich people are like literally constantly stealing your fucking money. And they'll convince you it's someone else is doing it. They'll literally convince you, oh, no, someone else is doing it, when they're the ones taking your fucking money. Literally, if rich people just, like, gave, like, 50% of their money, they could literally, like, if just one of them gave, like, 50% of their money, they could literally end world hunger. Just, that's it. Just, poof, gone, just like that. But no, we're fucking evil. But like, this is stuff you wouldn't really realize if someone else tells you how to feel, or if you talk to an AI, or if you like engage with all these things. If you listen to what other people tell you, it's the same thing in relationships and love. With love, it's easy to kind of convince yourself you don't know. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It'll be fine. Eventually, it'll catch up to you, and you're gonna get scared because you're gonna be like, "Holy fuck! I didn't realize how little control I had." And I've essentially been telling myself it's okay to live without this control. Now, there is stuff you can't control, right? Like, we can't fucking do anything about space. If like a meteor fucking fell from the sky and just killed us all, okay, cool. I can't control that. I have literally no control over that. I can't fucking do anything about it. It's a fucking meteor. I'm a tiny little speck of a man. It's just poof, dead. Everybody dead. Cool. But in your life, in the things that you can control, you should try to manage and control that. You need to take control over your life because your life is essentially about perspective. And if you just essentially just exist in your own little bubble and just not engage with the real world, you're living a lie. And that's essentially what she's doing with the characters right now. The characters are essentially living, or mostly Kazuya and maybe possibly Ruka. The characters are living lies. I think Mami is another case of a character like living a lie. Chizuru is not living a lie, but she's like not addressing her feelings. Whole other matter. This is what it means to take control over your life. You got to learn. You got to take initiative. You got to try to understand. You have to actually make an active choice to engage. And that's what Reiji is seemingly setting up here. I'm saying that Rent-A-Girlfriend can become about Chizuru and Kazuya in a relationship. Chizuru would, for example, become an actress and become somewhat famous, and this would influence the relationship. Okay, that's quite random. That feels like a whole other ball game. But that's not really related to what you were talking about before. You're talking about like it ending or something, and then now you're talking about like it becoming that. But if you think about it, isn't that technically the setup for what we're doing right now? That Rent-A-Girlfriend is essentially building to this really big change. I would like to know more about Kibe. Although we know more about him than characters like Umi, we still don't know a whole lot about him. I think Kibe is like a weird one. I don't know. I guess we could learn more about Kibe, sure. But that feels like not quite just yet. Let's see. So I guess I can start reading this. Let me pull up the other stuff I wrote in the background so I can read that when I get a chance. Yeah, so I have a lot of stuff written. It's not really organized. I think that was one of the issues, is like why I was struggling to put stuff on Twitter. Is like I had a lot written. It's not organized. Some stuff I kind of like changed my mind about. But we will start there. We'll start here. Okay. So, so look, I played Alan Wake 2, and for that, I don't know. I guess I don't want to. Well, man, I'm already spoiling it. Just ignore that. It's not a loop, it's a spiral. So we've been saying for a while that everything we've been experiencing is a loop. And we're like, the loop is going to break, the loop is going to break, the loop is going to break. We kept saying that, right? Essentially, a lot of loop-like imagery is constantly being presented to us. We're on the 8th anniversary. Trisha talks about how in a relationship, they would have infinite time. Minnie talks about endless 8. We constantly keep presenting this idea that we're looping. We're essentially reenacting the 3 months right now, are we not? And yet, this is not a loop. It is a spiral. And fuck. The moment I realized that. I foresee your Ruka robot theory coming in strong next chapter during this conversation. So yeah, let me keep reading what I wrote. What we have lacked from the start, and what these chapters intentionally remove, is context. Reiji is literally leveraging our lack of understanding. Everything we see is both missing context and using that to make us think we understand when we do not. 405 leverages this with whiplash. First, this is used in two opposite ways. For instance, we are both seeing Ruka's mask cracking here. Remember how I told you guys, like in the last stream, I don't know how long ago it was, this was essentially that meme where like you see a smile, but the face is like cracking and you see someone who's clearly not smiling underneath. That's kind of how we interpreted this shot of Ruka. It's like the mask is cracking. Something is off here. Ruka wears white. You see the black underwear underneath, and you feel like this sense of uncomfortability, this contrast between her clothes, how she looks, and the background all create this sense of uncomfortability. And through that, it creates a sense of whiplash. And yet, we don't understand her at all here, right? So we're seeing the mask cracking here. We're starting to see how scary Ruka can be here. And yet, at the same time, where that comes from is our own lack of understanding. Because we don't fucking get what the fuck's going on here. Hence, her being in shadow in contrast to the white of the background. Whiplash. It could even reflect Ruka's own lack of understanding of herself. Ruka appears to be in total control. Even the visuals reinforce her presence in Kazuya's own home. Despite barely having clothes on, Ruka doesn't feel vulnerable at all. Exactly how an abuser appears to a victim, indomitable, unbeatable. It makes Ruka appear scary in contrast to her size, right? She's literally smaller than him, and yet she comes off as pretty fucking scary because of how she's being presented in this shot here. Everyone thinks she's literally evil. And I think Reiji knows this. And if you guys remember, when we were reading the thing from the Reiji Twitter space, he literally said, like, oh yeah, like, when I showed this to Haruyuki, at the time we were thinking he was referring to Kazuya's hair, and it could have been about Kazuya's hair, but this feels a lot more fitting than Kazuya's hair being different. This feels like a much bigger deal. Reiji said that Haruyuki told him, like, this is fucking crazy. I would never fucking do this. So that matches a lot more with Ruka and how Ruka appears to us right now when we think of Ruka, because this feels like it just... haven't a lot of people essentially been saying this killed Ruka's character? Like, a lot of people have been saying, like, this killed Ruka's character. And yet, I think Reiji fully knows this and is leveraging that. And is actually, like, using that on purpose because we don't actually know Ruka and what the fuck is going on. So Ruka is in the center of the room, a problem that stands out in Kazuya's own home, an issue he himself let in and one he must resolve. And that brings me to 2. This picture, like much of the past chapters, is about perspective. And our POV, or our perspective, blinds us twofolds yet again. Let's look at the light yet again. I described the use of contrast here to create whiplash, but it does something else too. The light also highlights her isolation, a sort of self-disgust Ruka feels. Internal whiplash, a callback to where it all began. It's almost like, I'm a robot. The fucking official translations are so garbage. You know, I feel kind of like a robot. Like, why did they phrase it like that? It's so stupid. She literally just says, I feel like I'm a robot. She doesn't say, you know, I feel kind of like a robot. Like, that's how I rate it, and it comes off as so fucking stupid. Our lack of understanding of Ruka actually highlights something. We don't understand Ruka at all here. In 404, Ruka appears almost robotic. It's forced for her and him, following the motions even though Kazuya isn't there. It makes you question if she's even enjoying this, right? She's just... Didn't we literally say that? Like, it felt robotic. Someone literally pointed that out. It felt robotic, and it feels forced, and that feels weird. Why is it so weird? The title of the next chapter is Wise Man's Moment. Gives me the feeling that Reiji Museum is going to turn Kazuya's escapist solution to a situation with Ruka into a comedy. It's literally just post-nut clarity. It's literally just post-nut clarity. That's what the teaser is. It's just post-nut clarity. That's what it is. Because it is in part a joke. He's not turning it into a comedy. He's not turning it into a comedy. He's using comedy as a whiplash. The comedy is contrasted by something very real and incredibly uncomfortable, and that is actively being leveraged. It's not being turned into a comedy. It's something becoming a comedy and you don't want it to be, which creates whiplash. So let's see. It doesn't look like Ruka is enjoying this. This mirrors what I've said in the past. This is like a living dead relationship. It's over, but they keep going through the motions. But more so than that, it also mirrors the contradictions of Ruka herself. What she asks contradicts her intent, and that might be the point. Ruka tells Kazuya she's okay being second and that she doesn't have it in her to get in the way of his and Chizuru's relationship. But her being his mistress would do exactly that. It literally doesn't make any sense. And I don't think it's meant to. It's illogical by design. I said that I think what Ruka is going through is an addiction to love, similar to lust. You can't help yourself. You know it's wrong, but the desire is too much. You just need that relief to let it out. And when you get it, you hate yourself, knowing this is not what you wanted. All right, what do we see here? Ruka does the thing, and suddenly she starts feeling relaxed, like she's calming down. Like, you know, it's like that relief. You're literally getting that relief, like you're thirsty and you got your water or some shit, or you know, you wanted to let out this feeling really badly and you fucking got it and you let it out. You essentially start seeing that here, but it still continues to feel forced. So, oh my god, the fucking whatever. Yeah, so you see that sense of relief on her face here. And then look at how she forcefully tries to kiss him again. And I was serious about what I just said. I'm okay with being second. Kazuya's not even listening to her. He's not even in there. She just, notice how she forcefully keeps kissing him. Right? Who's noticing that? It's very, very forced. Not just with her kissing him. It's not like she doesn't care. There's something weird. She's forcing herself too. That's what makes it interesting. You think it's just her forcing herself on Kazuya. No, she's literally forcing herself too. She clearly doesn't like this, right? You look at this. It feels really, really forced. Like, I have to do this. Like, she's conforming in some way. Conformity is a big thing to this too, because what's Kazuya trying to do, right? What's Kazuya been doing for a while now? He's literally trying to become a good man. Instead of just accepting himself. He's trying to change himself into something that will be liked. He's trying to become a good man. Just as Ruka is seemingly forcing herself here to do this, even though maybe she doesn't want to. She just thinks she does. Right? She just convinced herself she wants to. But everything is contradicting that. When you see her in chapter 401, it clearly freaks her out. This clearly bothers her. It clearly freaks her out. She doesn't actually want to do it. But here she is forcing it like she has to. It's stuff like this that could like border on like a character not actually being straight, right? It's stuff like that actually like Ruka could like not even be straight. She could be a lesbian or something. It's stuff like that could delve into that where you're trying to force this thing because you think it's what you should do or what it is you want to do, when in reality that maybe that's not what you want to do. And I think what Ruka is confusing here is that she thinks she wants sex. In reality, I think what she wants is intimacy. And sex and intimacy aren't necessarily the same thing. Sex and intimacy are not necessarily the same thing. And I think Ruka's confused the two. I think, personally, I genuinely believe that's like what's happening with Ruka. She's confused her desire for intimacy with sex. Because sex seems like it's intimacy, right? You're letting someone in, you're opening up to someone, you're bearing yourself to someone else. But that's the thing, it's a two-way thing. And that's the thing, Kazuya and Chizuru had intimacy without sex. And that walk home. That was the point of that walk home. They had physical and emotional intimacy in that walk home. That was a very important moment for them. Here, Ruka just thinks it's like, if he opens up to her, she'll have this intimacy, but I think she's literally conflating intimacy with sex, and she doesn't actually know what she wants. So she's forcing this, thinking it's what she wants when it isn't, right? She thinks this is what she wants. It isn't. And I've said this for a while. She's literally going through the motions, thinking like this is what I want. This is what I want. It's not what she wants. Clearly so, right? Clearly so. It's not what she wants. So let's see. I said that I think what Ruka is going through is addiction to love. Similar to lust, you can't help yourself. You know it's wrong, but you desire it too much. You need that relief to let it out. And when you get it, you hate yourself, knowing this is not what you wanted. Sugar, pornography, alcohol, and even social media doom scrolling. We know we shouldn't, but we can't help it. It's when emotions control us rather than us controlling our emotions. Or in other words, a downward spiral. A downward spiral. It's not love because love is an act of choice. This is not. In other words, Ruka, despite being and appearing in control, is actually not in control at all, mirroring Kazuya's lack of control of his emotions, and even Chizuru, who is losing awareness of her surroundings. Kazuya starts trying to get control back, fighting urges in even Ruka. Ruka, despite being in shadows, is seems aware of her surroundings, unlike Chizuru, who is in light. Which also means she's actually aware of her own lack of control over herself, and you can feel that in her words. Okay, so I have a new interpretation of Ruka's words here. Remember how when we first read this, Ruka was essentially, we thought Ruka was implying she was going to do it again. I now have a new interpretation of these words. She says, even I know that a guy can't go again right away. 1, she's wrong. 2, even I know. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm an idiot. Suddenly that has a new meaning. You could read it something like, even I, a fool, know this much. Like a child who knows what they just did. Suddenly, this look on her face makes more sense. It's lament. She regrets what she did. She doesn't look at him, she looks away. Did you notice that? She looks away here. She's not looking at him, she's looking down. And when you look down and you're in shadows, you regret it. She literally regrets what she did. That's my new interpretation of it. This is regret. Just as Chizuru missed her stop, so too did Ruka fail to stop sooner, coming to her senses far too late. She knows a lack of control does not excuse her actions or words. This is why she appears so tense, not to convey aggression, but rather disappointment and anger at herself. And you can see this in her reactions. When Kazuya runs off, she appears sad, but it might not be for the reason it appears, but rather like a child waiting for their parent to tell them they are in trouble. She too knows when he comes back, it won't be good. So she waits. It can feel like we've been here many times before. In reality, things have changed, maybe far more than we could have imagined, because unlike a loop, a spiral has an end. A spiral does not end where it began, but it can feel like a loop when you're turning. We literally already got signs of this from the start of chapter 402. How it plays out and Kazuya's iconic shirt that he hasn't worn in a while. The spiral. Like past instances of this, things spiraled out of control, and with each spiral, the end draws closer. We expect from what we start with what we know. Things are normal. We think it will play out as we expected, and the story proceeds to both play out as expected and not at all. These events leverage the expectations and assumptions of looping to make you question if going back is even possible now. This mirrors Chizuru's own words in the 3-month time skip. Unable to go back, but unable to move forward. Literally stuck. Much like we are now. Going back is not possible, and moving forward means an end. These chapters are called the first time, but signal an end. AKA, it's a paradox. Ruka has essentially been going through the steps of grief, coping with this. First, she's in denial. Then Kazuya tells her what she already knows, and she turns to bargaining. We are already getting signs of anger, depression, and guilt. Now it looks like acceptance is drawing near. It's like we're speedrunning grief. You can feel Ruka's isolation in these panels. She's the one who opened the curtain herself before Ruka closed the curtain. She chose to live in the lie. Now she opens the curtain and chooses to see the truth. Both herself and Kazuya, whom she has not actually been seeing, honestly. The reason this is all happening so fast is that Ruka already knows the truth, but couldn't accept it, much like Chizuru couldn't accept the kiss. But crossing the line she did might have been the rude awakening she needed. The next chapter will set a very important tone. I have a lot more to say, but I'll take a break for now. Anyways, I was going to talk more about Kazuya, but that's kind of how I felt. That I feel like what Reiji's like setting up is that what Ruka did was a rude awakening both for her and for Kazuya. It wasn't just Ruka being evil. Ruka is just self-aware she is an extreme case. What? Okay. That doesn't contradict what I said. She knows she went too far. That does not contradict what I said. She knows she doesn't have control and she went too far. That does not contradict what I said. What if this is a tragic situation? Mommy finds Chizuru at the wrong train station where she gets off and drags her all the way to Kazuya's house and they catch Ruka and Kazuya's argument outside. First off, that makes no fucking sense. Why? Mommy doesn't know where he lives. Mommy has no idea where he lives. Mommy has not engaged with Chizuru. You've been actively showing Mommy not actually engaging or doing anything. So why the and Mommy doesn't know this. She doesn't know anything about this. So why would she just randomly go there? Second, Chizuru is literally 45 minutes away from him. Like, she's almost an hour away from him. And that's by train. That's if she rides a fucking train. Like, she's nowhere near him. The point of Chizuru being shown to you is that she's not here to help you. Chizuru is not here to help you. She's not coming to save you. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. That's what these chapters are doing. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. Because that's sometimes what the adult world can feel like. You have to be able to deal with some issues on your own. Sometimes people are not going to help you. You're going to be stuck. This is a problem you created. You have to fucking deal with it. No one is coming to save you. Your problem is not going to go away. In your own home, she silently stands, waiting for you to come back. She's done hiding, the curtain is open, and comfort has ended. This is adulthood, the harsh, sobering reality we must face. 405's power lies in its use of whiplash. One moment comedic, the next horrifying. The whiplash mirrors Kazuya's own constant flux of emotions, stuck between fantasy and reality, pleasure and disgust. But he has to make a choice regardless of if he likes it or not, or he will lose one. It's a brutal contention with not only who and what you are, but also the cruel reality that is unrelenting in its persistence. Ruka isn't leaving. Kazuya has to face himself and her. Chizuru is nowhere near them, completely unaware of what's going on. She isn't here to save the day. Minnie, not Mommy. Minnie doesn't know either. Minnie is not gonna randomly show up or do anything. Minnie is off on a trip. She said she was off on a trip. The whole point was that you were told Minnie is off on some sort of fucking trip. She's not here. Minnie isn't going to do anything. And Chizur's not going to go with her. Minnie can try, but Chizur's not going to go with her. Because you were shown Chizuru would resist. And she's not going to do what Minnie tells her to do. You were literally shown this in chapter 390. Minnie shows up, screams at Chizuru to do something, and Chizuru says, fuck you, I'm not doing that. Chizuru proceeds to literally not do what Minnie tells her. No, I'm making my own fucking choices. No. Is this the wrong choice? I don't fucking know. But she made her own choice. She didn't let Minnie tell her what to do. So no, Minnie isn't doing jack shit. Minnie is not saving the day either. In fact, I think what Reiji is setting up is for you to realize Minnie is not going to help you. And your reliance on Minnie and Kazuya's reliance on Minnie is a fucking mistake. I think that's what Reiji is setting up, that Minnie is a fucking mistake. We should not have been relying on her. In fact, she made things worse. Our mistake was letting her decide for us. In this case, it was Kazuya's mistake in letting Minnie decide for him. And that's not going to happen. This is what Kazuya realized here. In letting other people decide for him, he has taken away his own choices. Oh yeah, this was the thing that blew up. Yeah, this fucking dance blew the hell up. Fucking Ben Starr, my goat. Oh, Ben Starr, my goat. Okay. Streaming for about an hour. Minnie does really have a knack for showing up at the most opportune of times. Minnie showing up now is not only likely, but perfectly on brand, and Minnie makes excuse for leaving, thinking things early all the time. I think Minnie is not going to show up here. She's going to show up after. Minnie's probably going to show up after. I think Minnie's presence after this is incredibly crucial. Why? Because Minnie has been this person Kazuya has always talked to. But we saw prior how Kazuya couldn't talk to Minnie about sex. He just couldn't. So Minnie's presence now would be quite interesting. Why? Because even if she doesn't show up, Kazuya's going to think about her. And he's going to probably remember how she pretty much judged him for thinking for not answering immediately on whether he cheated or not. Because he didn't know. He's like, is this constituted as cheating? Because Ruka's the one kissing him, but the act still happened. Is that his fault? And he didn't know. And Ruka and Minnie was very judgmental of him. So Minnie's presence in regards to this is quite crucial. It's been intentionally shown that it's crucial that Minnie is relevant to this. How that plays out is a whole other ball game. Because he could try to talk to Minnie and not know what to say. He could not even talk to Minnie at all. He could just realize, I can't talk to her. And Kazuya not being able to talk to Minnie about this would highlight a very important issue. He was never actually talking to her the whole fucking time. He could talk to her and Minnie is not understanding at all. He could talk to her and Minnie acts weird and clearly doesn't know how to fucking handle this anymore. And she freaks out and she panics and makes him panic and freak out. You see, I think Minnie could like end up actually making him spiral more. And I think that could be what it is. It's Minnie essentially makes him spiral more. instead of helping him. And eventually Kazuya, like both, because another thing that like Reiji is setting up with Minnie's character is that, to me, Kazuya realizing how he's fucked up is also Minnie realizing how she's fucked up, because his choices are Minnie's choices. So him realizing he's fucked up, and then Minnie realizing that as too, is important for her character. So basically, Minnie is relevant to this, and she might make him spiral more. We don't know. Regardless, this will be interesting. How this is explored. There's clearly a lot of setup for this. I think it will be handled well, but Minnie is going to be relevant somehow. Let's see. To be quite honest, I don't think there's anybody besides Chizuru Kazuya can talk to about this, but there's not quite the stage to meet yet. This is going to be an internal battle for the ages. This is the thing. Kazuya has to talk to someone about this. It may very well be Chizuru, but Kazuya has to talk to someone about this. And there's a very real chance he'll talk to the wrong person first. He'll talk to the wrong person first. There's a very real fucking chance. The chances of Kazuya talking to the wrong person about this is very possible. And then the most unexpected person will probably be the one to be the correct person to talk to. So, for example, Kibe. That's why I said Kibe is totally possible. Like, if Kazuya ends up talking to Kibe and Kibe ends up being like incredibly understanding, or if Kazuya ends up talking to Curry and Curry ends up being incredibly understanding, you see how like the most unexpected person, but like all of them have like things that like make it hard to talk about. That's what makes it incredible in the way that it's being utilized. Every single person Kazuya could talk to has this thing where it could go bad. With Curry, okay, the Ruka thing could go bad. Kibe, oh my god, you're supposed to be dating Chizuru, what the hell is all this? A whole bunch of judgment. With Chizuru, she might hate me. Grandma Nagomi, it's not gonna fucking work. Mommy, I don't know how the fuck Mommy's gonna react. Sumi, well, Sumi's like this innocent character, I don't want to bother her. Sumi might come back too, you never know. And so this idea of like, not knowing who to talk to and picking the right person to talk to is quite difficult. I think Sumi is a total possibility, but that would be kind of weird. It's like, hey, so this girl made me come. Like, how do you say that to a rental girlfriend? Like, how do you say that to a rental girlfriend? That's fucking weird, right? So Kazuya can't really talk to Sumi either. So essentially, Kazuya is like cornered and doesn't know who to talk to, and can't just. And he's not gonna bother some stranger on the train. No. He's not gonna bother, like, this is fucking Japan, dude. This is fucking Japan. So, wasn't it weird that Minnie didn't go to Kazuya's house to celebrate his birthday either, and that Chizuru couldn't at least call Kazuya to wish him happy birthday? So much mystery in their behavior. Again, we don't know, but remember, in Kazuya's last birthday, like, some of that stuff happened off screen. So like Minnie, or sorry, not Minnie, like Kibe and Curry and whatever told Kazuya off screen happy birthday. They didn't tell him in person. Whereas the focus on the birthday was like other things, and we didn't really consider that. Minnie telling Kazuya happy birthday, she probably did off screen. You never know. With Chizuru, that mystery's on point. Reiji is leveraging that mystery on purpose. There's a very real chance Chizuru did talk to him, and Chizuru did say happy birthday, and Chizuru did want to go, but she wasn't invited, so she didn't go. And that's the thing. Chizuru has been kind of like letting Kazuya make the choices, and she's not really been making choices when it comes to him. So that's kind of the thing. It's like, we don't know what the deal is with that and Chizuru. So it's that's why like I like to not assume. You think you know, you don't know. You don't know, and that's the whole point, is that you have no fucking idea. Knowing Kazuya, he will think Umi will understand his predicament, and he will no longer back off and Chizuru open he can of worms. Why in the fuck would Kazuya think Umi would understand? Why would he open up to a dude who's confessed his love for Chizuru, and not think that guy will use that? Why would he think Umi would not use that against him? Genuine question. Why would he think to himself, Umi will not use this against me? Do you see the problem? Kazuya doesn't know Umi at all. What would possibly give him the inclination of, yeah, this is the guy I should open up to? Like, after this, Kazuya is going to have massive trust issues. Why the fuck would he open up to Umi, of all people? A guy he's always been insecure around. And a guy who he thinks would totally use this. That, see how it doesn't really add up? It could happen, depending on how things play out. It could happen, like Kazuya somehow convinces himself Umi's the right choice. But it's like so low in the percentage scale that it's like, I don't really see it. It's so low in the percentage scale, I don't really see it. I was rolling with what you said. He always tends to say something to the wrong person, but the wrong person who seems like the right person. Umi doesn't even seem like the right person. Do you see the problem? Umi doesn't even seem like the right person. Nothing about Umi seems right. You know? Umi could be relevant to this, you know? For instance, like maybe Umi tells him like everything, and Kazuya starts thinking maybe Umi's a good guy and I can open up to him. Do you see like, so maybe Umi could like flip the whole script, and suddenly like he doesn't seem unreliable, and it turns out Umi is the right person to talk to. You see how that could be interesting? It's like Kazuya interacts with Umi, he thinks Umi is like this bad person. Umi flips the script, turns out he's not a bad person at all, and he actually gives Kazuya some really good fucking advice. That would be interesting. That Kazuya like talks to Umi, he expects something bad, because he's like, why the fuck does Umi want to talk to me? Umi tells him everything, and it turns out it's not actually bad. And Umi has actually been trying to help him or something this entire time, and you've just misinterpreted everything, just like we've misinterpreted everything with Bruka and everyone else. It turns out Umi is the same way. We've misinterpreted him the whole time. And that could be like Kazuya opens up to him, and then Umi would probably tell him something incredibly sensible, where Umi could be like, you should talk to her. I don't think Chizuru will judge you. That would be really cool. A complete reversal of Umi's character. That would be really, really fucking cool. Where you think you understood Umi a particular way this entire time, you were completely fucking wrong. That would be so fucking cool. I would love that. Kazuya doesn't have any male friends or acquaintances he can open up to about something like this. He lacks a proper support network in general, and this is what he tries to use Mini for. He's kind of wrong. You're right in that he doesn't have a proper support network. He also does though. He's just afraid to use it for a few reasons. So Kibe is not a proper support network because he got burned with Kibe. Curry is. In fact, Kazuya has opened up to Curry, and Curry actively gives him great advice. He's literally fucking right. Curry's advice is literally right. He gives him the right fucking advice. And Curry has not judged him. Curry's actually been quite supportive. And Kibe is trying to be supportive. Kazuya, however, doesn't see it. The problem is like, Kazuya doesn't realize that he actually does have a support system now. It's just, he's been so burned by them, he's having trust issues with them. And that's Kazuya's mistake here, is like he's so caught up in trauma, he doesn't realize the support system he does have. Chizuru is a support system. Kibe is a support system. Curry is a support system. Even his own family will support him if he opens up to them. The problem is Kazuya doesn't know how to open up, as most men don't. Most men don't know how to open up. because we're conditioned not to. We're literally conditioned not to. That's why. That's fucking why. We don't know how to. And the trust issues that were created are a byproduct of Hawaiians, and that's why Kazuya struggles. He thinks they'll judge him if he talks about this thing. They even give him the inclination they'll judge him, when in reality, that's their mistake. The mistake of Kazuya's family, Kibe, is they did this thing where they essentially gave him like the inclination, we're gonna judge you, even afterwards. So like Nagomi's still harsh on him, despite the fact that she's trying to be better. Kibe does the same thing. He's trying to be better. He's trying to be a better friend. He's trying to butt out of his business, but he still has this tendency where he's harsh towards Kazuya. Where he, like, for example, Kazuya and him make up. He's like, it's okay. Sorry, I don't want to view this negatively. But if you break up with her, I'm going to disembowel you with a chainsaw. I'm like, bro. And he realizes after, when Chizuru talks to him, he fucked up. Like, he realizes after, okay, fuck, I know I said that. I didn't mean it. Like, he says that to Chizuru. He literally says this to Chizuru. He's like, I know I said that to Kazuya. I didn't, fuck. Like, he realizes he fucked up. This would also show that Umi accepts Chizuru's rejection and respects her wishes. Umi could perfectly be harassing Chizuru off the pages of the story, which would justify Chizuru's line that Umi shouldn't think she's the type of woman he imagines her to be. Chapter 395. You're completely misinterpreting Umi's character for a very, very simple reason. If Umi really was harassing her, we would have been seeing that more. We would have clearly been seeing that more. And if anything, Umi clearly wants to support her. So clearly that's not Umi's character. He would have done more. She would have been more bothered by him. She wouldn't be playing a fucking game with him if he was bothering her. Chizuru would not be doing that if he was actually bothering her. So to me, I feel like Umi like kind of minds his own business a little bit for the most part. And doesn't actually bother her. So I don't know. I feel like we don't know enough about Umi to go and say he's harassing her or he's doing any of this stuff. He did do some shit in the past. He's clearly done some shitty things in the past, but it doesn't add up. Umi's character does not add up, and I refuse to assume he's doing this in the background unless we get like real evidence. Oh, he sucks. Right? Unless we get like real evidence. Oh, Umi sucks. Then I'll be like, okay, sure, you're right. The problem with Kibe is that he is fairly stubborn and simply can't understand some issues. Curry, on the other hand, so many things can go wrong in revealing their relationship with Ruka, and it's been seeing. We don't know that though. And that's the thing. That's what friendship is, dude. It's a leap of faith. Look, yeah, something can always go wrong in any friendship, ever, period. It doesn't matter. Any friendship can go wrong in some way, shape, or form. That's what trust is. It could go wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway because they're my friend and I trust them. That's what that is. Okay? That's why I think that like Kazi is being put in this situation where that's what it means to trust a friend. You open up to them because you know they'll still be on your side. Umi's problem is he simply can't stand back and be in the background. That's what it appears like. That's what it appears like. I don't know if that's what it is. All you have seen of Umi is appearances. All you have seen of Umi is appearances. In fact, he's always been in the background. So it doesn't make sense. I genuinely think it doesn't make sense. Umi and Kazuya forming a relationship where they listen to each other's life problems but not being anything like friends is a path I would like in that story. To Ruka, Kazuya is just a means to an end. For Chizuru, Kazuya is the end itself. I have no idea what you're saying. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that even mean? It also doesn't seem correct at all. It seems completely incorrect. I think you're completely mischaracterizing the characters in the story. Okay, let's see. How did Ruka get into a relationship with Kazuya? She let him. Ooh. So remember we were talking about AI. I wrote something really interesting here. Remember, how did Ruka get into a relationship with Kazuya? She let a machine tell her what her heart felt. She always checked the heart monitor to tell her what to feel. This should, in part, sound familiar. Kazuya, before calling Chizuru, does what? He texts Minnie. Kazuya, before doing anything with Chizuru, starts getting approval from Minnie. Now Ruka always sought to raise the now Ruka, who always sought to raise the monitor higher at first, and it wasn't always the focus, but the foundation is similar. Kazuya speaks to Minnie, who mirrors AI, echoing everyone else even if it's wrong, in order to have an authentic, real relationship with someone else. And it doesn't work, just like Ruka turned to a machine to tell her she is not a robot, only to become robotic in her addiction. I cooked. I fucking cooked. Come on, you gotta admit, this is really fucking good. That's really fucking good. I cooked. The heart monitor and love testers are both machines that told characters about love. Oh yeah, the love test. That's the other thing. The love test told them they're 100% compatible. And yet, what happened? A rejection happened right after. It's almost like compatibility tests are a fucking joke. Ruka's awareness of Kazuya and Chizuru's relationship, yet not her own, is brilliant. It's like a kid blind to what she desires, but far more observant than they appear. If Minnie is the little girl from the Okay. So remember when Minnie came over to Kazuya's place, which, by the way, Ruka's visit is a direct reference to. Minnie is wearing the nerve symbol. The nerve symbol is what is it? See, Kazuya can't see this by having his eyes open, then comes Minnie. She yet again wears her Evangelion hoodie with the nerve symbol. This hoodie should already tell you a lot since it symbolizes how things look versus what they actually are, and in turn what they must mean. In some ways, you can think of the nerve symbol as symbolizing humanity's attempt to conceal its flaws or sins. This is what the hoodie that Minnie wears means. It stems from a poem, Pipa Passes, of a girl walking through an industrial hellhole, and she's really not aware of the meaning and the problems of her surroundings. The most iconic line of the poem, and the one spoken in Evangelion, is "God is in heaven and all is right with the world." The girl sings happy words, but in fact, nothing's right with the world. If all's right with the world, that means something is wrong with God. This reflects Minnie. God is in heaven, all is right with the world, except it's not. All is wrong, and mankind has to wrest control from God and his angels to take matters into their own hands. Hence the Evangelions. This is the motto of Nerve, and this is what Minnie is doing here. Playing God. Okay. Let's see here. If Minnie is the little girl from that little poem in Evangelion who does not see how the world around her is burning, Ruka fully knows and keeps acting like everything is fine. That's the difference between Minnie and Ruka, and that's why their visits parallel each other. When Minnie visits Kazuya, she gets him drunk, she messes up his house, and she tells him this is what he wants. And Kazuya goes through with it. When Ruka visits his place, Ruka cleans his house and then asks something of him. Right? Minnie doesn't ask anything of Kazuya. She tells him, I know. When in reality, she wanted something from him. she was playing God. In contrast, Ruka desires something from Kazuya and takes control away from him directly. Mini indirectly takes control away from Kazuya. Ruka directly takes control away from Kazuya. She knows it's wrong, and she keeps going because she doesn't have control over herself. That's the difference between Mini and Ruka. Mini secretly takes control away. Ruka directly takes it away. Let's see. I love seeing characters acting not in the norm. I love seeing characters not acting in the norm. Can you imagine Sumi acting mean and being completely edgy in a tsundere? Did Nanaho, Chizuru's fellow actress, have a date or casual relationship with Umi? Does the story shows this that? No. She literally doesn't. In fact, the acting girls literally said straight up that Umi is a really hard catch. And he doesn't just date around. They literally said this. They even said, you're going to have a hard time getting his number. He doesn't just date around. He's a hard catch. So, no, that literally those girls are literally actual evidence of how your perception of Umi is wrong. Because he literally doesn't do these things. In my head, it sounded better. What I was trying to say is Ruka only wants Kazuya to satisfy her own needs. It's pure selfish, but Chizuru is the opposite. I actually think you're wrong. Ruka's love is not purely selfish. This is Ruka losing control of her love. This is becoming addicted to love, where it's not healthy anymore. But that's the thing. Kazuya also let it fester and grow to this point. And she's tried for a while to not do anything. I think Ruka has come to the realization that what she wanted earlier was purely just selfish love, and she was trying not to do that. But what she was doing is restraining this feeling she's had for a while, which is this deep, deep need for intimacy with Kazuya. She kept touching him, she kept interacting with him, and her need for intimacy built and built and built to the point that she couldn't control her feelings anymore. But that's the thing, the relationship is a lie. Chizuru is similar to this, but flipped. Chizuru really, really has a deep want for intimacy with Kazuya, but she's holding herself back. What you're misinterpreting is that Chizuru also feels this incredible selfish desire. Like, really, really bad. But she's holding it back. Whereas Ruka, who has been able to touch him this whole time, can't hold back anymore. Because she's been touching him. She gets to physically interact with him constantly. She can't hold that back forever. Chizuru has not been touching him constantly, and the one time she intimately touches him, she loses control. Literally, the moment she kisses him, she loses all fucking control. The kiss was planned. After the kiss, all control is lost. What happened with Ruka was created as a byproduct of that environment. And that's kind of the issue. The thing is, Ruka started as incredibly selfish and developed to selfless. Ruka's love did develop to being quite selfless. However, this is an issue that was going to come back because it was not addressed. Because this issue was not addressed, naturally it escalated to what it did. So, Ruka isn't simply selfish love. She's being presented as purely selfish love. It's not. It's literally someone losing control of their love. It's the dark side of love. What you're being presented is the dark side of love, where this is what happens when you lose control of your passion, of your desire, and the desire controls you. You don't have control anymore. It controls you. And then you hate yourself afterwards. I don't understand why people assume Umi will not act like a male version of Mami with Kazuya when she talks to him. He's always proven to be a good guy. Literally, he doesn't. The only time Umi has actually been just straight up shitty is when he lied to Chizuru to go on that date with him. And she didn't know it was a date. That was the only time Umi was just straight up shitty. Like, okay, yeah, no, he did something crappy here, period. But even then, he tried not to physically touch her, right? It was mostly like emotional, like, hey, let's do this, but not physical. So that's the contrast between Ruka and Umi. Ruka is very physical. Umi's very emotional. Umi's actions are driven by emotion. Ruka's actions are driven by physical interactions. That's essentially what's going on between those characters. And so Umi never really physically touches Chizuru. It's mostly emotional. And it appears a certain way, just as Ruka appears a certain way. You see Ruka's physical actions, and you immediately like you essentially hit two extremes. Where like one extreme is that this is purely sexual assault, worst thing ever, worst horrible character, you should go to jail, all that stuff. You have the other side, which is very dismissive. Oh, she's a cute anime girl. Nothing bad happened here. Ooh, woo. Moving on with my day. Like it's Kazuya's fault, right? Because he feels certain things. It's Kazuya's fault. In reality, it's somewhere in the middle. Yes, this was sexual assault. On the other hand, there's more nuance to this situation, and it's not quite that simple. And I think Ruka is aware of how bad this situation actually is. I think Umi is quite in a similar middle messy ground where I think Umi is aware of what's going on in the relationship, but I think he has more control than Ruka does. I don't know if I think the difference between Umi and Ruka is that I think Ruka is much more losing control of herself, whereas Umi, I think, appears like he's losing control, but I think he's actually more in control than he appears. And I think we'll be exploring that soon, this idea of control. In particular, controlling your love. But Kazi and Chizuru will not work out, not if they just start a relationship as is. A machine makes things easy. It takes away the need for hard labor, but hard labor is what both of them need. Well, that's the thing, though. Kazuya was the one who wasn't ready to date her. Chizuru was putting in the work. She was. Chizuru was putting in the work. He wasn't. Kazuya wasn't actually trying. You can say he was. You can feel like he was. He wasn't. Kazuya wasn't actually trying. He didn't talk to her. He didn't check in with her. He didn't ask her real questions. He set this like impossible standard for the date. And in the end, it just kind of blew up in his face. And the only real choice he made was when he picked her up and carried her home and then, chose to keep believing in her and his love. That's the only real choice he made in the fucking relationship. Everything else, Kazuya was just not really doing anything. He was the one who wasn't ready to date her. Chizuru has been ready for a while, and she was trying extra duper hard. And nobody gave her fucking credit for that. But that's where you're wrong. They have always had a relationship and have always battled through the ups and downs. And that's the thing, yeah. They do have a relationship. They're way past this point. But at the same time, the reason Kazuya wasn't ready to date her is because he wasn't actually trying to get into a fucking relationship. That's why. They've had a relationship this entire time. But the reason he's not dating her is because he wasn't really trying. He was living in fiction. They have already been through hard labor. What Reiji is doing now is exploring not breaking your limits or hard labor or really any of that stuff. What he's talking about is making a choice. Making a hard choice. That's it. Not labor. Not hard work. That already happened. We're way past the point of hard labor. He's right. Bolfer is right. We're way past that point. They already did the hard work for the relationship. It's already been built. The relationship already happened. That's already a thing. Curry literally said this, bro. You're way past like date 3. You're in like date 20. You two should already be fucking. He literally said that. He's like, you two should already be fucking. What the fuck are you doing? In reality, it's just about making a choice. You have to make a choice and you have to talk. That's the real issue. They can make the results of the machine, the fruit of the labor, real, but it would not take blood, sweat, and tears. They're working. What the machine is doing is making a choice for you. You're just not. You're not choosing. Love is an active choice. You're kind of conflating what AI is being used for here. You're kind of misinterpreting what AI is being used for here. Reiji isn't talking about the traditional stuff where AI is doing the hard work for you. Like you're kind of right, sure. That is true. Minnie is essentially doing the hard work for Kazuya, right? He's not actually putting in the effort anymore. So you're right in that front. But the thing is they already had put in the effort up until this point. That's why the relationship still exists at all. But you need to keep putting in effort constantly. That's what a relationship is, constant effort. It's not just you do it once and you stop. The problem is that he stopped putting in effort. He needs to keep putting in effort. Do you see the issue? That's why I think you're misinterpreting. He needs to keep putting in effort, not just stop. My take is that Umi is just a shallow privilege. He embodies the acts of a bad guy at all, but he lacks meaning. His life lacks meaning. I think you're wrong, because there's real evidence showing he's not just that. There's very real evidence showing this is not simply Umi's character. There's clearly much more to his character, especially because he can tell Chizuru is in love with Kazuya. He caught that when she first rejected him. He could just tell, like, oh, you're clearly fucking in love with him. Like, it's all over your face. I could tell. Like, he was very observant about it. He's like, you started looking to the future. You started, like, actually focusing. It wasn't just because your grandma got better. You were clearly, like you actually, like, felt better because of him. Like, he did this. Like, he's not shallow. If he was shallow, he wouldn't notice that stuff. That's why it doesn't add up. That's why, like, I don't agree with that sentiment that Umi's just some shallow, privileged prick. Because it doesn't add up. He's too aware. He could literally tell she was in love. Which is why people think he's a prick, because, oh, if he knows she's in love, why is he confessing? Exactly. If he knows she's in love, why is he confessing? Exactly. Is he actually confessing? Is Umi actually confessing, or is this something else? Do we not actually understand this? Do we think we do? Are we all just completely wrong? Do you see why it doesn't add up? You think it's a Ruka situation. It might be something a little different. Life has taught me in any relationship there's always somebody that's behind. I don't know what that means. What Kazuya needs to do is grow some self-awareness so he can make choices. Yeah, self-awareness is a part of it. But I think it's maybe less self-awareness and more so just, like, yeah, self-awareness is part of it, but I think it's like just needing to make a choice. It's not just, look, it doesn't matter. You just got to make a fucking choice, or someone else will make it for you. It's kind of that simple. If anything, I don't think Umi likes the attention at all. He just deals with it because that's what's best for business. Oh yeah, he just takes it in strides. I'm convinced everyone who actually looks can see they are in love, but how many people do actually look? Well, Ruka is choosing to look away, but she knows. Kibe can just tell. Curry can just fucking tell. Mommy is choosing not to face Chizuru, but she already knows. She already knows. But she's like, oh, there's a chance because he's not dating her yet. There's a chance. So she's living with that chance instead of actually making an active choice. Ruka is a little bit more complicated than Mommy. Ruka hides the wild woman behind the innocent child. Kind of, but not really. Kind of, not really. I think the innocent child hides something dark, not necessarily wild woman. I think that description is very wrong. She's not a wild woman. She The dark, it hides her desire. It hides her adult desire. That's what the innocent child hides. But the innocent child also double hides something where it's like, yeah, it hides the dark desire, but it also hides the fact that that dark desire isn't actually so dark. It actually is innocent. It's a double mirror essentially, where yeah, you look at it at first and you think to yourself, it's hiding something dark beneath everything. And then you take another look, or you look from like a different angle, and suddenly you realize these dark desires aren't so dark. They're actually quite innocent. And what she wants isn't what it looks like it is. She just deeply wants intimacy, and she's misinterpreted that as sex because of her physical desires, because she's in love. The smartest man that never speaks, but when he does pay attention, that's Kazuya. That's Kazuya's dad, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe not. maybe not. Let's see. Ruka's awareness of Kazuya and Chizuru's relationship, yet not her own, is brilliant. It's like a kid blind to what they desire, but far more observant than they appear. Oh yeah, I think I already read this. Ruka can control Kazuya's body, but she can't control his mind. The heart is a balance between the two, so no matter how much Ruka touches the body, she won't reach his heart. Ruka and Kazuya have a parent-child-like dynamic. Kazuya here looks like an adult coming to talk, so I think I'm referring to this. Kazuya is Kazuya, let's see, kind of dynamic. Kazuya here looks like the adult coming to talk because the kid did something really bad, whereas Ruka looks like the kid that knows they just messed up. Their words betray them, however. Kazuya's words sound childish at first, so I'm referring to this. Oh, you put on some clothes, right? And then Ruka's words appear adult, right? Whereas Ruka looks like the kid but knows they just messed up. Their words betray them, however. Kazuya's words sound childish at first, while Ruka's words sound mature. Ruka is in the center of the room as if this is her house, reflecting how she is in control in Kazuya's own home. But this is not right. They are not in their roles. Kazuya is the adult and Ruka is the kid. This is Kazuya's home, not Ruka's. Kazuya is the one who is in control here, not Ruka. She merely sounds like she knows what she's saying. In reality, she doesn't. Ruka is actually totally powerless and knows Kazuya is probably not happy here, that she crossed the line and did something incredibly wrong, like a kid waiting for her parents to scold her. And like a parent, Kazuya says, "We should talk." Not "we need to talk," as if they're framed as equals. No, they're not equals. This is and has been the fundamental issue of their relationship from the very start. They were never equals. It was built on imbalance from the moment it started. Ruka was in control for much of the physical acts, whereas Kazuya is in control of much of the emotional element. Kazuya does not manage the emotional element well, and that results in the physical discomfort for Ruka, in part creating the circumstances for her physical reactions. He hides his love for Chizuru behind doing stuff with Ruka, using Chizuru as an excuse to use Ruka to get what he wants, something we see in the credit card he got. This results in Kazuya falling between Ruka's legs because that's what she wants. In some ways, Kazuya created the very reaction Ruka had not. Kazuya created the very reaction Ruka had in not cherishing his love for Chizuru seriously. And yet, Ruka deep down knew, just as Kazuya deep down knew Ruka desired physical intimacy desperately. Ruka does not handle the physical element well, and it results in Kazuya's emotional unhappiness. In particular, hiding the desire behind gestures of affection, when in reality, it's her deep desire for physical intimacy with him disguised as playful, innocent touching. This mirrors, so what I'm referring to here, for instance, this. Ruka sits down, looks at him, and then she pats his head. "You're so cute." So what did I say here? Right? In particular, hiding this desire behind gestures of affection, when in reality it's her deep desire for physical intimacy with him disguised as playful, innocent touching. This mirrors her heart condition, which was the very foundation of her and Kazuya's relationship, and yet Kazuya does not know about this whatsoever. Ruka is emotionally unsatisfied with him as he is her, and Kazuya is physically unhappy with her. Damn. I was cooking, dude. That's the point. Umi can observe the things by observing things Chizuru because he knows that's what he lacks. He doesn't have real friends, real love, real purpose. He's just a very good player with no meaning. But you literally see him with friends. You see him hanging out with the dudes. You see him hanging out with the homies, playing soccer with the homies. Maybe he really is just super close with those actor people, and you thought he wasn't. You don't know. You don't really know if Umi is truly like this. Maybe he is. Maybe you're right. Maybe Umi. I don't think he's a player, but I think maybe he doesn't have many friends. That could be like a mirror of Chizuru, where maybe Umi doesn't really have many friends. Maybe he does have friends. You don't know. That's what Umi appears like. But Chizuru is kind of similar like that, isn't she? You could interpret Chizuru as this like really good person at using other people, and she doesn't have friends or anything like that. But what Chizuru deeply lacks is family, not friends. Chizuru has friends. You have friends. It doesn't mean you open up to them about everything. I have friends. I don't tell them everything about myself, but that varies per person. I think what Chizuru lacks is family, and maybe that's what Umi lacks too, family. Right? I think that's what Chizuru truly lacks. She has friends. She has people she talks to. They're just not super duper close friends. She doesn't like tell them fucking everything. Because Chizuru is a very private person. Maybe that's something that needs to change in the future, because as you get older, you start to realize the important people in your life and you start opening up to them. So that doesn't really align. Do you see the issue? It's like, because you're at a certain age, you don't open up to your friends about everything. I only really started opening up to my friends about shit like when I got older, where like I kind of got like late college, maybe after college. That's kind of when I started opening up to my friends. So it's kind of the same thing with Chizuru. And in that same way, you could kind of reflect that back at Umi, where it seems like Umi doesn't have all these things, but maybe he wants these things. Like, you think he's just this shallow person who doesn't have these things. Maybe he actually wants these things. In contrast, Kazuya and Ruka mirror each other in that they're incredibly privileged. Ruka has friends. Ruka has family. Kazuya has friends. Kazuya has family. Whereas Chizuru is quite underprivileged. She doesn't really have family. She has friends, but she doesn't have like a good support network. Maybe that's exactly what we're supposed to be flipping back at Umi, where he seems very, very privileged. In reality, maybe he isn't and actually wants that, like, some support and friends, right? Maybe he isn't that privileged, or maybe he is privileged. You don't know. I mean, Ruka is like much more privileged than she appears. So that could be Umi. It's kind of hard to tell. We don't really know enough about Umi. I know Ruka is a very privileged character that looks like she's not privileged, just as Kazuya is a very privileged character that looks like he's not privileged. So it just doesn't add up. If you really think about it, Kazuya. Okay, we're talking about Kazuya's dad. We'll worry about Kazuya's dad later. Umi sees it, acknowledges it, and is honest about it with others. This is a theory makes him a good person for Kazuya to open up to. I don't think so. Kazuya doesn't actually know Umi. I think Umi would need to be very honest with Kazuya for Kazuya to actually open up to him. Faye, through her studies and work as a rental girlfriend and actress, if you think about it, Chizuru might also be hiding that she's a wild woman trapped by her fear, right? Why are you saying wild woman? Why are you using that phrasing? That just because someone feels horny doesn't mean they're wild. I don't know why you're phrasing it like that. I don't like your phrasing. Yes, Chizuru is quite horny and she holds it back a lot because she's afraid. She doesn't want to be like her mom. Yes. But she's not a wild woman. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? Could we not? Like, I just don't like that description because it is a slippery slope. It is an incredibly slippery slope for people to start saying horrible things about Chizuru. It's the same thing with Ruka. That's the reason I didn't like it with Ruka. It's a slippery slope. People were going to start saying horrible things about these characters. Because everybody treats women like crap. Fucking suck. He wants them, but he sucks at getting them. That's why deep down he envies and despises Kazuya, like when he was observing Kazuya and Chizuru's bond at the barbecue. How do you know he despises Kazuya? How do you know he despises Kazuya? Has he ever said so? Nothing has indicated he actually hates Kazuya. Envies him, sure. Envies him, okay. I could see him envying Kazuya. Despising him, I don't know about that. Nothing has indicated to me he despises him. Envies him, sure. But at the same time, like, what Kazuya and Chizuru have is not, like... Because he doesn't know about Kazuya's family or anything. Umi doesn't know anything about Kazuya's family stuff. He just sees a guy liking a girl. That's totally different. So that doesn't really hold up when you break it down. Ironically, it comes off as shallow. It doesn't really hold up because Umi doesn't know familial stuff. Now, you could say, okay, they're living together. They're kind of like family now, right? You could see that envy, but despises still doesn't really hold up. Honestly, the best person Kazi can open up to is Chizuru. We already know this. We already know this. Faye has made me remind myself after Kazuya overheard the alleyway conversation involving Umi. I highly doubt Kazuya would go to him unless it was what he proposed. Then again, he still have that meeting. No, it's just a pure instinct how the moment you said, this is pure instinct, you told me you don't know anything about this story. I'm sorry. This is a story that literally actively uses your perceptions of what you think these characters are and tells you you're fucking wrong. So if you're acting on instinct, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You are shooting yourself in the fucking foot. I am just telling you, bro. You are shooting yourself in the fucking foot. Because this is a story that literally takes characters that you perceive a certain way and tells you you're fucking wrong about them. So if you're acting on instinct, you're shooting yourself in the fucking foot. Just telling you. You're like, just the moment you said that, I'm like, there it is. There it is. It is your perception and assumptions and expectations that are blinding you. Because it is people's instincts that resulted in them hating and getting mad at Chizuru. It is people's instincts that blind them to Ruka's character. It is people's instincts that blind them to Kazuya's characters. It is people's instincts of how Mommy's gonna react that blind them to Mommy's character. I know I didn't read the comment. I'm fully aware. It's just the moment you said that. The moment you said that, I like tunnel vision. I like tunnel vision at that. How a dude like Kazuya, from Umi's perspective, is a pathetic, poor, low self-esteem loser. Except Umi clearly doesn't view him that way. Umi clearly doesn't view him that way. Has all the things he wants and he doesn't. Again, except we don't know if that's how Umi views him. You have nothing on that. That's your assumption of how Umi would view him. And yet, he literally told Kazuya, you're actually cool as fuck. Literally, Umi's words betray this. He literally told Kazuya, no, dude, you cool as fuck, bro. Like, I thought you were weird at first, but you're actually cool as fuck. You did something I never even thought of. I respect you a lot. All we've gotten is Umi shelling Kazuya, I respect you. But your instincts give you the impression that he doesn't. Even Kazuya gets that instinct, maybe he doesn't. You don't know. And then how Umi appears to you makes you think, oh, he must hate Kazuya, he must feel all these things for Kazuya because of how Umi is acting and what he's choosing to do. He must hate Kazuya. As somebody that's trying to get into Resident Evil, I've never actually been in a game, only watched the lore and videos and cutscenes. Should I start with Resident Evil 0? No. Resident Evil 0 fucking sucks. No. Look, it depends. What do you want? Do you want modern day Resident Evil or do you want best classic Resident Evil? You want modern day Resident Evil? Start with either Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 remake. You want classic Resident Evil? Start with Resident Evil 1 remake, period. Do not start with Resident Evil 0. Do not. It is really fucking bad. As someone who beat that game, it is really, really fucking bad. And I'll explain it to you in the simplest way fucking possible. It has a partner system, and that partner system is not good. Because you're essentially swapping between characters, and the game is not designed in a way that works well around the partner system because it'll randomly just throw you into a situation. You could be completely ill-prepared for it, and then to make matters worse, Resident Evil has always functioned around a item box. Basically, you have a set level of things you can carry with you. You can only carry like 4 or 5 items with you. 4 or 6 items with you. When you get enough items, you go store some away and you carry what you need with you. You carry your essentials. Resident Evil 0 introduces this wild, amazing concept to remove item boxes. And it fucks the whole game up because what you got to do is carry your items, drop them on the fucking floor, and then pick them up later. This can be incredibly infuriating if you're not smart and like pay attention to like what you gotta carry, what you gotta bring, because sometimes you'll need something, and the game will not tell you you need this thing until much fucking later. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this garbage? Like, there's like a hook shot, for example. You need it in 2 spots, one in the very beginning of the game and one like midway through the game, and the game doesn't tell you you need it. And because there's no item boxes, you would have to run all the way the fuck back to where you dropped it because it takes up 2 spots to pick it up, come back, drop a whole bunch of other items in a particular location so you can come back and get those later. And then once you use the hook shot, you don't know if you'll ever need it again. It's actually just straight up bad game design. It's not good game design. So do not start with 0. 0 also contradicts one's writing. It actually fucks up Rebecca's character. Rebecca is a character that's introduced in Resident Evil 1. Completely fucks up her character. It's just not a good story too. It has great ideas. It's just not executed well at all. So yeah, 0 just kind of sucks. It has some cool shit. It has some good music. It has some fun stuff, but I would never want to replay it. I beat it just to say I beat it. And I was just frustrated for most of it. It has some fun stuff. Do not get me wrong. It had some fun stuff, but that is incredibly outweighed by how frustrating the game feels to play. So yeah, start with either Resident Evil 2 Remake or Resident Evil 7. Those are great starting points. Resident Evil 7 is essentially a callback to Resident Evil 1. It is created with that in mind. Resident Evil 1 Remake is like essentially the perfect game. So it really depends. You want to start with like classic Resident Evil or modern day Resident Evil. If you eventually get into classic Resident Evil, you should still replay or you should play Resident Evil 1 Original. You should play Resident Evil 1 Original. Now, if you want to play the original trilogy, what I recommend is something called Biorand. So let me pull it up. You can, if you have a PC that runs like modicum of okay, like it just runs okay, you can run this. So download this thing. It's called Biorand. It has Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and I guess they added Resident Evil 2 and 4. Well, that's cool. And these things are initially randomizers, but you have the game, and you can play the game upscaled, and you can do a whole bunch of cool shit with it. So you should get this. You should get this version. You should get Biorand. It's sick as fuck, and you can play the first 3 Resident Evil games, and it makes it really fun and easy to play. If you want to purchase these games and you have a PlayStation, you can. You can play Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the PlayStation. They're both like $10. The only thing, though, is I recommend you play Resident Evil 1 on Biorand. The simple reason is because the way they made Resident Evil 1 has a bunch of really stupid fucking versions. Resident Evil 1 has a bunch of stupid fucking versions. So, for instance, the version they released in the United States doesn't have auto-aim for some dumb fucking reason. Auto aim is really big in OG Resident Evil games because you kind of just need to know where the way it's designed is really shitty when you don't have auto aim. In Japan, it had auto aim, and when they released it in the US, they thought, well, they want it harder, right? They people in the US want harder games, so we're just gonna remove a core fucking mechanic of the game, and that just made the game just not fun to play. Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation 5 also doesn't have auto aim, by the way. Fuck me, I guess. So that can also be frustrating to play. But if you want to like support the game, then you should buy it from there. I played both versions. I played the BioRand version, and I played the normal version without auto aim. And it was fine. Like, I got used to it over time. Initially, it was frustrating, but I got used to it over time. But yeah, Resident Evil 1 unfortunately has like two stupid versions, and the version they give you in the store is the director's cut version, which has this atrocious fucking soundtrack they made that has an entire backstory behind it. And that's why I don't just recommend playing that version at all. Just play the BioRand version. It's just better. Period. It's just better. So and personally, interestingly, this is a personal thing. I think mechanically, Resident Evil 1 Remake is better than Resident Evil 1 the original. I love the fucking atmosphere of Resident Evil 1 the original more than the Resident Evil 1 Remake. And everyone will hate me for this. Everyone will fucking hate me for this. I think it has such a unique and creepy fucking atmosphere that is just not... I don't feel it in Resident Evil 1 Remake. I still think Resident Evil 1 Remake is fantastic, though. Don't get me wrong. It's probably like a 10 out of 10 game. But Resident Evil 1 original had just such a weird, creepy fucking vibe that was so weird. And I don't think any other game has captured that. So yeah, that's my recommendations. And then you can just go from wherever. I will say this though, Resident Evil 3, the original, is so much fucking better than the remake. It has so much more stuff. The story is better. The story is better, mind you. I think the way they handle the story is much better in the remake, but they cut a lot of content. Anyway, sorry, we went on this entire fucking rant about Resident Evil. I think the only Resident Evils I've yet to play are Resident Evil Outbreak, Code Veronica. What else have I not played? All Resident Evil games. Played. Cloud? No, whatever. Resident Evil Village, played it. Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil blah, blah, blah. I haven't done this DLC or this DLC either. So I haven't done the DLCs for 7, but I have Platinum 7. I played 6. I did not play Revelations 2. I did play Revelations 1. Resident Evil 0 sucks. I did not play Operation Raccoon City. I did play The Mercenaries on 3DS. This is Resident Evil. This is Resident Evil. The Mercenaries on 3DS. Resident Evil games all come with like a Mercenaries mode where it's like it's just get a high score essentially, and it's pretty cool. Mercenaries is super fun, by the way. You should give it a try. Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles. This is a Wii game. I played it. I played The Umbrella Chronicles, also a Wii game. I have not played Outbreak File 2. I did not play Outbreak 1. I did not play Dead Aim, but I heard Dead Aim sucks. It's just like this weird spin-off series. It's not even made by the main game. Gaiden also sucks. Survivor also sucks. Survivor 2 also sucks. Code Veronica is like a weird gem that I gotta play. And then I gotta play 1.5 because it's Resident Evil 2, but it's like the early version where it was like an incomplete version. Oh, and they have they have this like version of Resident Evil 1 on the DS that's like crazy. Resident Evil on the DS. This is a super rare and hard to get version, but it's considered by many to be like the perfect way to play Resident Evil 1. Resident Evil 1 DS. Yeah, it's called Deadly Silence. This version is fucking crazy. I've yet to play it. I heard it was super, super good. Like, insanely, insanely good. people like carry that shit through the fucking stratosphere. I don't know. It's really good. Okay. I ranted for a little bit. Sorry about that. Bro, I would have my ego wounded if some girl rejected me for Kazuya and I'm not even close to Umi. Imagining a guy like that would feel. That's kind of sad. Like, sorry, that's kind of sad. Like, she doesn't love you. Just you're looking at love like you're weighing scales of you're a better guy than him. It's not about being better. That's not what love is. I think your mistake is how you're looking at this. You're looking at this from pure ego. Love is not about ego. Love is about like a time you want to spend with that person. Just because you perceive yourself to be better than someone else, it doesn't mean you are. It doesn't mean that you matter to this person the same way. Like, that sounds like a you issue. Which, by the way, it's that very basis that like people would have, oh, how dare she reject me? That like there's a lot of women that are like afraid to reject men and fear that their ego would be wounded and they'll become fucking violent. Like, I know that's not you. I'm hoping that's not you. I actually don't know you. I'm hoping that's not you, but please consider that just because someone rejected you, it doesn't, and they pick someone you deem as not as good as you, like Kazuya, it doesn't mean jack shit. That's not how love works. That's not how the world works. To say this in the nicest way I can as possible, get over yourself. Because like, whether you like it or not, Kazuya did shit that you could never do. He is actually quite emotionally resilient and far more resilient than most of us are. I would argue Kazuya is stronger than me in some aspects because he's actually willing to emotionally like look like a stupid fucking idiot in front of other people. And the reason I feel like I can do that now is because of him. So, yeah, again, pay attention to your own words, because to me, it kind of sounds like you're projecting a little. You're projecting yourself onto Umi, and you're seeing him through the lens of yourself, which is you would have your ego wounded. Therefore, a pretty boy like Umi would totally have his ego wounded, even if Umi is not you. Do you see the problem? So, like, with all due respect, you should try to, like, look at this differently, because that's not how love works. And you don't know if that's how Umi thinks. You don't know if that's how Umi thinks. If anything, Umi may actually feel inferior to Kazuya. You don't know that. Maybe he actually thinks Kazuya is better than him, in a similar way that Ruka thinks Chizuru is better than her. Whereas Ruka is jealous of Chizuru's physically. Chizuru is physically everything she wishes to be. Maybe Umi is jealous of Kazuya because Kazuya is emotionally everything Umi wishes he could be. Do you see the issue? I think you're completely misinterpreting Umi's character. Play all of them. They're pretty good. Don't watch the movies. The movies are fun. You should watch the movies. They're some of them are trashy fun, but they're fun. You should watch the movies. The movies are definitely a fucking experience. Both the animated films and the live action films. They are an experience. You should fucking watch them. In fact, I really recommend you do, because they reference the movies in the fucking video games. Resident Evil 4 directly takes inspiration in certain parts of its gameplay from the films. Because the creators actually love the films. Like the iconic laser hallway. Resident Evil 4 literally recreates it twice, with the second time being more accurate to the actual laser hallway. Because they love it that fucking much. I did see Infinite Darkness in a canon event taking place between RE2 and RE4. Again, I kind of don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if they're canon. They're just kind of like, whatever. I just view them as whatever movies. I think all the animated films are are what is it? All the animated films are like canon technically. They're all technically canon, but I don't give a fuck about them. And you don't need them to enjoy the games, you know. I saw that because PS has the old games included, they marked down a lot of the games are $5 each. Oh, the coolest. Okay, so they did something incredibly cool that no other company I've seen that has done this. If you bought the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 1 original games on the PlayStation 3, the PS fucking 3, it transfers over to your copy on the PS5. That made my fucking day. Because I bought those games on my PS3. They were not on PS4. And I checked, and they literally said, oh, here's you get it for free because you already bought it. The smile on my face, dude. And then when I turned it on, I'm like, oh, it's literally the same fucking game. They literally just ported it. It's the same fucking game they put on the PlayStation 3, and they just ported it over. I'm like, oh, okay. That makes sense. I see why they could do that now. Let's see. When RE2 Remake came out, Mr. X coming into the screen with X gonna give it to you was put over the music was truly some of the funniest shit ever. Oh, yeah. No, Mr. X is still funny as fuck and scary as fuck. If someone rejects you, find someone else that won't, plain and simple. Yeah. Dude, find someone that will pick you. If they rejected you, cool. For example, I've been rejected before for like fucking shitty ass reasons. I've been rejected before for the shittiest fucking reasons. Like dumb shit that maybe has nothing to do with me. And I got a little annoyed. I'm like, but then I thought to myself, well, okay, if they're gonna reject me for that, I don't think I want to be with them. If they're going to reject me for that, I don't want to be with them. I hope they find happiness or whatever. I'm not going to make a scene about it. But if that's how they're going to treat me, I don't want to be with them. Like, find someone who'll love you for you. But don't treat other people like shit when they don't love you. That's a them problem, just as you getting upset is a you problem. Right? They could, literally, how you react to the world around you is something you control. Do not be a piece of shit to other people because they're a piece of shit, right? If they don't treat you well, do not react that way. Make sure you take the action because you want to, not just because you're losing control and shit. Like all those people, all those men who get rejected by women and then immediately turn to violence, dude, you're the fucking worst. Actually, the fucking worst. Because you're the reason a lot of men get bad rep and the reason men's mental health is downplayed. Because you'll abuse your privilege. That you could do this and get fucking away with it. And that's the reason women don't trust us. And that's the reason many women reject men and don't feel safe with them. In contrast, and this is proven to you, by the way, how did most people react to when Chizuru rejected Kazuya? How many violent memes did we see? How many violent fucking memes did we see? And then they would excuse it because it's fiction. Oh, but so if you got away with it in real life, it's okay, right? Oh, it's fine because it's fiction. So if it happened in real life, it's okay, right? That's how the logic falls apart really fucking quickly. In contrast, how did Kazuya handle it? He was upset. He was bothered. He clearly wasn't fucking happy. And he took it like a goddamn champ. He still treated her with respect. He still treated her with love because that's what it means to love someone. They may reject you. It may feel like shit. But if you love them, that's what matters. If you really love them and when they rejected you, you will treat them well. Because that means you actually fucking love them. If your immediate reaction to someone rejecting you is acting like a piece of shit, you didn't love them. Right? Even if they reject you for all the stupidest fucking reasons. You didn't love them. Okay? You would just leave. Just be done with it. Head out. But the moment you act like a piece of shit, you didn't fucking love them. You didn't deserve their fucking love. let's see. Kazuya could jump off. I'm a person that can't handle scary rides at a carnival. I could not jump off of a ferry. Maybe I could if I was given the courage or the chance. I think I could. I think if I saw someone in trouble, I would just jump. I saw that apparently they're making remaking Code Veronica and Zero for 2027, 2028. This was not confirmed anywhere. This was never confirmed. We have no confirmation of this whatsoever. It seems like once Resident Evil Requiem comes out, there's going to be some big announcements. I really hope they remake Outbreak, Code Veronica, and 1. And then, of course, 0. I think what they might end up doing is like doing the Raccoon City stuff from like a different angle. Because it seems like Requiem is going to end Leon's story. So once they end Leon's story, they're probably going to try and focus a bit on Jill, Chris, and the original cast and like make their story shine. You know, because they're the other half of the story. Leon is like one half, and Jill and Chris are the other half. So I feel like they could really delve into that. There's no character more mysterious than Umi in the entire manga. I think so, only because he's the only one we know or understand the least about. Yeah, I guess you could say that. We know the least about him, but I would say Minnie is a second. Minnie is a close fucking second. You don't know jack shit about Minnie. You just think you do. Minnie is a very close second. You don't know jack shit about Minnie. You don't know anything about her backstory, anything about her past, what she wants for her future, nothing. All you know about Minnie is what she's given you, which makes Minnie incredibly mysterious. You don't know her very well. I always get, I like your eyes and I like your hair, and then I ask them, then they say, you're a nice guy. Just don't think about you that way. They lead me on just to crush me. Like, what the fuck? Oh, yeah, like, I wish they were more direct. Yeah, I like this and I like that. It's because they don't want to hurt you. They're not trying to lead you on. They're just trying to be nice. But that's the thing. You should be more direct. Not, oh, I like this, I like that. No, just tell me straight up. Like, when people try to do that to me these days, I'm like, no, oh, look, just stop. I know. Just tell me straight up. Don't do that shit. Like, I really appreciate it when someone's just really direct with me and they're just like, nope. And I'm like, cool. Works for me. It's much better than that bullshit where, you know, I think that shows inexperience, but at the same time, it also shows why they do this. I know why they do this. Because unfortunately, a lot of guys' egos get bruised hard. Like when people do this. That's why I was like really bothered by Artoria's comment. Because like I know I mean that's not necessarily them, but that focus on ego is such a problem with men these days. And I think that's one of the reasons maybe women approach it like this, is because they're trying their best to let you down easy and also hopefully not have you freak the fuck out at them. Especially if they don't know you. They don't know how you're going to react, dude. And especially if it's just you and them and they get scared, especially in places like in general, like fucking South Korea, dude, right now, nobody wants to have sex or have kids. Their culture is like very like their male population is like insanely incel and very anti-women. They're one of their, I think their prime minister, I don't know if he's still there. I think it's the guy that got kicked out. He literally ran his campaign on incel shit. There's a very big rise in the mistreatment of women, and so a lot of women are like very careful with how they approach these things. So maybe try to look at it from that lens. It's like, okay, on one hand, maybe they're just leading you on to crush you. On the other hand, maybe they're just trying to let you down easy, and maybe they're afraid of how you might react, and they're just kind of want to just take it easy with you, you know? And just recognize that and then move on. And I think that's the best you can do. Don't like linger on it. You have to ask yourself if you truly want a romantic relationship or if you're pressured because of society. Some people like being single. Yeah, like I want a romantic relationship, but I'm also pretty chill with myself. Like, yeah, I want one. I haven't had one in a bit, to be honest, but I'm pretty chill on my own. I'm fine with that. Right? If I can find the time to make one work, and if I find the person to make it work with, great. But I'm okay not having one. I do feel sometimes pressured. Like sometimes I'll ask people for the wrong reasons. Maybe I'll realize after, oh, I don't actually like you. But I'm glad that I asked so I could figure that out for myself or for you to maybe indicate you don't like me and then I'll know. What was always weird to me is that they would spend months doing this too. Oh, okay, that kind of sucks. I think they're waiting to remake. Oh, you're talking about Resident Evil 5. Okay. I think they were waiting to remake 5 till after they do the other earlier games they didn't remake. So it felt like so it feels like there's a lot of setup for 5 to be remade, but I think before they remake 5, they have to do 1, 0, Code Veronica, and then 5. Because if they just throw you into 5, it'll be really weird. I think they know this. I think Capcom knows if they just throw you straight into Resident Evil 5, it will be fucking weird. Because for the people who have only played the remakes, you have not interacted with Chris. You only know Wesker secondhand. And you're probably like, who the fuck are these guys? You know Chris from 8, but you don't have like a concise storyline for him. And then Jill just you had one game with her, and then when she comes back, suddenly she's fucking evil person who's been brainwashed. Isn't that kind of weird? Do you see how like remaking 5 right away doesn't seem like the greatest idea? There's clear setup to remake 5, but I feel like they shouldn't just remake 5 first. They should literally just do a new trilogy. I think they should literally just do a new trilogy where you start with 0 and 1. You go, and I think they should completely rewrite 0. I think they should completely rewrite 0. It should be something completely fucking different. Because the way 0 is written, it just contradicts 1. And then afterwards, you do Code Veronica, which would perfectly tie in with Chris's character because it also acts as a sequel to Resident Evil 2 and a sequel to Resident Evil 1. And then afterwards, that acts as an amazing setup for Resident Evil 5. And then you could have Outbreak in the background, and then you could also have the sequel games in the background. Literally, the setup is perfect. They have a perfect fucking setup to do amazing things with Resident Evil. And I hope they do it this way and not just remake 5. I feel like if they just remake 5, it will be good. It will be an amazing fucking game, but it'll kind of feel a little flat just because you haven't had time with these new versions of these characters. And you can't really appreciate them as much. Agreed, especially since if they reintroduce Jill and Rebecca and maybe Carlos, because we've not seen him at all since 3, and Raccoon City is a massive loose end for him. Yeah, like, they had all this, and this would work too, because what they're trying to do is, it seems like they're building up a big resolution to the Umbrella saga. But they said Requiem would not resolve Umbrella. So it feels like there's this big setup that they're building to where Requiem is going to connect to a lot of Raccoon City stuff. And it connecting to Raccoon City, it feels like perfect setup to revisit it in this new version, in this new way. That'd be sick as fuck. Like, the setup is amazing. Been on a dating app for 2 years, and all I got was ghosting, and if not, then a match, and then they'll insult me, you're fat, and I'm like autistic, I'm fucking blind, I quit this shit no more. Oh, I don't like dating apps. It didn't work for me, I'm sorry. I tried dating apps for like about a year. Not even. I think it was like a few months. It was like I had it for a year, but I barely fucking used it. I used it like a few times, and it just felt so demeaning emotionally. It just felt so fucking demeaning emotionally, so that I was just like, okay, I don't need this. I'm okay. I don't fucking need this. And then I just deleted all of them off, and I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. If I find a relationship, that'll be great. But I don't need to actively like do this to myself. Like the dating pool just felt gross. Like it was nice seeing like attractive women on the app, but I'm just like, it just feels like it just, it hurts emotionally, just constantly like being belittled or ignored or just not talking to. And nobody really talked to me. I think nobody really engaged with me. I've never been good with that kind of stuff. I'm good at forging like actual in-person relationships. I'm not great at like that weird online stuff. The 2 years could have been spent more productively elsewhere. It's okay. It was a learning experience. Just that's okay. It was a learning experience. Don't worry about productivity. Life is just life. You just enjoy it. Funny enough, YouTube only gives me dating app ads. It's like the universe is giving me a sign. I don't know. You could try it. Just be careful. That stuff is weird. Okay. Okay, so Wednesday I work, and Thursday I work. I'm off Friday. We're gonna stream on Tuesday the new chapter. That should be interesting. Maybe I'll try to write like one more thing on Twitter before the chapter comes out. And hopefully there'll be some interesting stuff. Again, I've said the next chapter is gonna set a tone for the new year. Like I definitely think the next chapter is gonna set a tone for the new year, where it's gonna be like, okay, this is how we're gonna end the year. And then how we're gonna start the year is also gonna be important. So it's like the next chapter and the chapter after that are gonna be pretty important chapters. And we're gonna kind of have an idea of like where we're gonna be going with this. Did you look at any rag merch? Be more specific. What do you mean? Like anything new? Did I look at anything new? I've been kind of not buying as much lately. Because I have a lot of bills to pay and I'm trying to save up. I think I've been buying a little too much off of Buyee. I did have some stuff delivered though. I can like show you some of the things that were like delivered. I got some things recently. Let me see here. Yeah. So I got that stuff. This is just stuff I bought a while back, and I've just been having that stuff delivered. Oh, speaking of which, I thought I'd share some interesting stuff. So Ruka, the Ruka event, it won an award. So the Ruka crowdfunding event, it won an award. They said, thank you to everyone. This time, Youth and Girlfriend has received an award for the second half best project pop culture category, the Fan Community Award, and the crowdfunding award of 2025. This is all thanks to those of you who support us. Thank you so much. Going forward, together with our fans, we will continue our activities to bring the love of our characters to life. We look forward to seeing continued support the Youth and Girlfriend staff. So yeah, it won that. That was pretty cool. There's like one other thing. I don't remember what it was. It's like one other thing. I know it won that award. I just wanted to share that. They also did start like shipping some of the stuff. They started shipping some of the stuff for the Ruka event. I think I got some of it. It's in my it's in the warehouse for buy E, and I have to still ship it to myself, which is one of the reasons I'm not buying things right now. It's like there's so many stuff I gotta ship to myself, like it adds up. It adds up. It's like 15 to 20 bucks per like normal size thing, and then the bigger it gets, the more it costs. Um, and yeah, so I've just been slowly paying all of those off, and then once I save up some money, then I might start buying me something. But for now, I haven't really been buying much. I remember the other thing. I remember the other thing. I wanted to. Oh, I guess it was on my account. Yeah, there's that Ruka event. There it is. This thing. So they opened up the official Nakano event. They opened up a site where you could actually buy the stuff from them. So you can actually get the official items from them. So there's some stuff on here I definitely want. I want like the shirt. I want I think I have this one. I don't know. Oh, I have this one, but I don't have this one, the big stand. Um let's see. I have the Kazuya one. I think I have that one. I have this one. I might get this and I might get this. So these are stickers. I don't know if they're selling the comic. Like, can you actually get the comic? This is a postcard. Yeah, it doesn't seem like you can get the comic from here. All items. Yeah, it doesn't seem like you can get the comic from here, but this is a store where you could buy these things online. I don't know if like I think you could do buy E through this, hopefully. I don't know if you can. Let me see. Translate to English. You might not be able to do buy E from this. I'm not 100% sure. I'll check it later. But yeah, it looks like there's an official site now, so that's cool. I don't know. I think there's a way to do it. Like even if you don't have buy E, there's another way to do it. You can use like tenso.com where you could like purchase this stuff and then just send it to Tenso, and then that works. So that's the other thing. That's the other thing I want to talk about. Is like there's two things. Is like this and the Ruka event getting an award, which was cool. This is from the pachinko machine. This is like it's this like weird pachinko machine thing, and they created some merch for it where they're selling these like acrylic stands, and it's like cool. It's whatever. I'm not really crazy about it. The art isn't like the craziest thing ever. I don't really like getting when it comes to merch, I don't really always like getting what is it? Oh, I didn't do full screen. Oops. My bad. I didn't do full screen. I just realized. So you guys weren't seeing like the full thing properly. Oh well. My bad. Yeah, you guys didn't get a proper full screen. My apologies. The Shinji family got a new chapter, and that was interesting. It seems like there's some big setup for Shinji family, like you just like acrylic stands? No, I have them. I just don't care for anime stuff. That's what I was gonna say. When it comes to buying stuff for Rent a Girlfriend, I don't like buying anime related, like the anime style of the things. Unless like there's a like I really like it or something. Usually, I like buying the manga version of whatever it is. I just prefer that. This is just something that I feel like I'm just more interested in the manga stuff than the anime stuff. And I try to see if I can support it directly. Like there's some things where there's like an exception. For instance, the Hawaiians event. The Hawaiians event was more of an exception where it's like, yeah, I bought the Hawaiian stuff because I want to support Hawaiians, and that's supporting Reiji directly. So I was like that's more of an exception, but yeah. So Shuinji will end at volume 13. What volume are we on currently? I think it's like an 8. We're on 8. We're really close. There's like literally like a few more volumes and it's over. So this chapter for Shiunji family did something crazy. It leaked to the news that they're not blood related. It's in the news now. So everybody fucking knows they're not blood related. And then Arata is at a point where he's like, I have to make a choice. Do I date someone? Do I not date anyone? I have to make a choice. It's getting too much. Because he essentially had a mini version of what happened with so what happened with Ruka essentially happened to Arata with Auka, but in like a mini version. Whereas Ruka is like way past that point. Like Ruka has broken every conceivable limit. Auka is hitting her limit. So Ruka is way past the point where Auka is. And whereas Auka is essentially hitting a limit where she's like trying to get actually physically closer to what is it, to Arata, and she can't hold back anymore. And Arata noticed it and is like, oh, okay, like this is getting really bad. I need to make a fucking choice. So and then right as he says this, it leaks to the fucking media. So like the media now knows they're not blood related siblings. So it seems like that's if this is the last chapter of Shiunji family for the year. Oh man. Wait, what? I saw a joke tweet about Rent a Girlfriend merch that is still burned in my brain. Is that your room or Asmongold because it's full of trash? What trash? That's just there's just a box there. Jesus Christ. I just opened a box earlier today. It just looks messy. It's not actually messy. Jesus Christ. I just opened like a few things, so there's a bit of a mess on the floor. God damn. That's so mean. Jesus Christ, I actually clean and shower, thank you very much. It just looks messy right now because I got a few new boxes and a few things and I didn't put away stuff. God damn. The one time I don't put away things, I get fucking compared to Asmongold of all people. That dude fucking sleeps with rats. Like, could we not? Could we not? Please and thanks? Jesus Christ. Okay. Is there anything else? Nothing here. I wrote a lot more stuff, but I don't feel like reading it right now. I'm a little tired. I gotta get some sleep and organize a little bit. And now this person reminded me I need to throw away these boxes. Fun. God, there's so much boxes. There's so much to organize. I'm not in the mood. Lamar Wilson? Who is that? Wait, this guy seems familiar. Where do I know him from? This guy seems familiar. Where do I know him from? Oh, he's a YouTuber? Oh. Oh, and he died recently? That sucks. I heard an actor also died recently, but his was like a suicide. Did you manage to get the Chizuru hoodie? It's in the warehouse. I still gotta pay for it. I'm still waiting to pay for it. Wait, was the joke that I had Rent a Girlfriend merch, so it was trash? Is that the joke? I just processed that. Was that the joke? Because damn, fuck you. I know that's not what you meant, but I hate it. Yeah, no, every time I see a tweet about Rent a Girlfriend, it exhausts me. I try not to engage. I try my best not to engage. It could get really under your skin, dude. It could really get under your skin. Cause Twitter is mean, dude. They're so mean and they don't want to listen. Like, it's just, I'm right, fuck you, fuck off. I got myself the new Asma Blu-ray for Christmas. What is that? I don't know what that is. I wonder if Reiji's gonna stream tomorrow. Oh, this is the actor that died. Yeah, this is the actor that died. James Ranson. Damn, by suicide too. Where did I see him in? I know I've seen him before. I just don't know in what. Oh, I knew it. He was in It. I knew it. He was in It. Yeah. I think that's where I know him from. I haven't seen many of these other films. Yeah, that sucks, man. Be nice to your loved ones. Go say you love them. Talk to them. I thought Reddit is brutal with rent-a-girlfriend stuff. I mean, Reddit and Twitter and YouTube. Like, all of the above. It's just Twitter. It's just Twitter's a little worse because at least with Reddit, you can kind of talk to someone. They won't listen, but you can kind of talk. With Twitter, it's like you can't even really talk. They're all just gonna gang up on you. Whereas at least with Reddit, you can kind of like engage with someone because it's not about points. It's like, yeah, you can get upvoted, but it's less about points and more about like actually talking to someone. At least that's how I feel. But whereas with like Twitter, like you'll just say one thing and everybody and their mother will gang up on you, and it just feels like bullying. You know, it's just not fun to talk to people like that. It just feels like bullying. So yeah. Did you look at the comments on K manga? Is it full of hate? No, they seemed kind of chill actually. I think it's because most people like if you're on K manga, like you're not like you're paying money. So you give a shit. Like if you're on K manga, you're paying money. Let's see. Chizuru blushing because she can't stop daydreaming about the kiss is seriously so cute. Well, I'm glad Kazuya got out of that situation he was in. That was a close one, even though he was embarrassed. Ruka needs to stop and Kazuya needs to break it off. Forcing love is toxic in a relationship and just ends up getting everyone hurt. Chizuru is still dreaming till July 11th. See, like, doesn't seem anything weird. Let's see. Oh my god, Chizuru, you're back. We missed you so much. Kazuya, tell Ruka it's over. Remember, kids, if you do something bad that betrays the trust of those you love, hide it from them forever. Everyone knows that being a little horny absolves you of all responsibility. Okay, this is a good fucking. This meme is kind of funny. Not gonna lie, this meme is kind of fucking funny. Remember, kids, hide your sins. Jesus Christ. I know one of the reasons is that Kazuya couldn't set boundaries. However, I felt a little sorry for him. I really can't imagine how he can face Chizuru next time. By the way, no chapter next week. Oh yeah, that's okay. I thought we had passed the inner monologue stage. I just hope this really talks towards next chapter, especially seeing Chizuru again. How do you pass inner monologue stage? That doesn't happen. This is Rent a Girlfriend. That never goes away. This is Rent a Girlfriend. At least he's not totally trashed. Jesus. Trashed? I don't get it. Maybe he's saying he's not total. No, I don't get it. Whatever. Chizuru in 2025 exists in smartphones. A phone call costs nothing. You know this? Chizuru in 2025 exists in the smartphones. A phone call costs nothing. You know. Oh, okay. So he's being a dick. There you go. Our one dick comment for the day, or this one could be a dick comment, but we're not quite sure. Ruka's sad. She deserves better than Kazuya. Oh, he's the worst for letting it come to this mess. Chizuru is not better, as we know. She knew about it all along. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Can we stop assuming about characters? No, Chizuru didn't. She didn't know Ruka was doing any of this. Like, she had no idea Ruka was doing any of this crap. She got an inkling, a hint, but she doesn't actually know. This time, at least we can understand what's going on, but the concern remains. You'll have us to find a compromise the readers, and for Kazuya, be courageous. Okay, yeah, this seems to be the end of the line for Ruka, the beginning of the end. The little brat still hasn't realized what she's done. Notice how everybody just has like a different viewpoints. Probably the talk was also postponed, but later consider how Ruka is acting. She's breaking up with him. She's breaking up with him? Relationship is about to end with Ruka. I hope they're breaking up. Oh, Lord. Ugh, this better not be Kazuya. Stop. She accidentally got off at it. What? K-manga must be playing with us. This must be a joke. Oh, I think they're talking about censorship. Might be the trauma, but I hope Chizuru finds out, because why can't you be firm and say no? He fails to set boundaries, and that's an issue. I'm devastated, but also slightly entertained. If this accidentally stops of Chizuru's near his apartment, Kazuya got some explaining to do. Yeah, it seems like it's like a toned down version of like the other places. It's like more toned down. I think it's because spending is an element here, you know? Because they're not going to come here to comment. They're going to go Reddit. Why is K-manga so different from Reddit? Well, it's not a site. Like, you're just leaving a comment. You're not actually, like, talking to people. I don't think you can... Can you comment on someone? You can't even comment on people. You can't even, like, talk to anyone. So that's a big difference. You can't really engage with anyone. Whereas with Reddit, you can talk to people. With Reddit, they also get it for free. So... the fact that these people are not getting it for free makes it so engagement is a little bit more like you have a little more to say because you're actually paying, so your comment holds a little more weight, I would say. One of the most looking forward to anime has a dub coming. Tune into the Midnight Heart. I might have to read it now, but I also on K-manga. That's a terrible fucking sentence. I'm sorry, but what's it called? Tune into the Midnight Heart? Huh. Never seen this before. I feel like I have, but I've never seen this before. It looks like quite generic, so I don't know what to make of it. They're gonna fucking kill me. They're gonna fucking kill me. These women are gonna kill me. The look on his face, it looks like pure fucking terror. The look on this man's face, he looks like pure fucking terror. These women are gonna kill me. Okay, I'm sorry. That was genuinely funny. That was really fucking hilarious. Will there be more censorship in future chapters? You can betcha. You can absolutely betcha. There will totally be more censorship. And I will always go to the Japanese version so we don't have to deal with it. They're in the broadcast club, and the MC is trying to find the person that matches the voice of the person he heard on radio when he was young. The only problem is they all sound similar. So fucking generic. Are you shitting me? Oh my god, that's literally the I made a promise when we were little kids, but I forgot what the girl looked like. Please, ooh, I hope I can find her. She's my destined one. It's, oh my god, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Unfucking believable. Like, what are the odds that she would even be there? That sounds even more ludicrous. That sounds even more ridiculous than the fucking I made a promise with a little girl when I was young. That seems even more ridiculous. How could you possibly find her? Why would she even be on a radio when you were a little kid? You fell in love with her voice? That's it? That's so goofy. I'm mildly interested just in how absurd it sounds. That's usually how anime hooks you. It sounds so fucking absurd that you're kind of interested. It's so goddamn absurd. I'm a little interested, but not that interested. It's literally Radio Rebel on Disney Channel. So what I've been watching is Cinderella Grey. The Ume Musume anime. I don't know if there's another one, but this is the one I've been watching. I got hooked. It's really fun. It's getting a season 2, which is awesome as fuck. It's just a very fun show. I really recommend it. It's think power fantasy anime, but with racing. But it's based on real historic events, which is cool as fuck. It's anime girls. It's racing. They're horse girls for some reason. And it's based on real horse racing. And I don't know, it's really cool. You should give it a watch. I had a lot of fun with this anime. Like this girl fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, no, her name is Okarishimasu, which is a real horse. Apparently that's a real horse that was actually racing in real life. And the races like she won and shit were like real races. The horse Okarishimasu actually won, and they say like the race she won, it's like the Arima Kekken or something like that. It was like where dreams were made. And it's a cool show. You should give it a watch. It's really fun. I need to start watching more shows. Unfortunately, I have this bad habit where when I find a show and I kind of get into it, I kind of watch it. My issue right now is I'm kind of just rewatching Stranger Things, and I'm like, man, this show both has good stuff and terrible stuff. Like, so here, spoilers for season 5 of Stranger Things. Spoilers. So I have a lot of mixed feelings about this show, but spoilers for season 5 of Stranger Things. So bear with me. If you haven't seen season 5 yet, get the fuck out. If you have, whatever. So there's a scene where the main villain shows up. His name is Vecna. They said they took inspiration from they said they based that scene on the Darth Vader scene from Rogue One, which is one of the coolest motherfucking scenes of a villain I have ever goddamn seen. If you guys don't know it, it's basically Darth Vader is like so basically it's a scene right before A New Hope starts, and Darth Vader walks into this like dark room. There's nobody there's nobody in that room. Fuck, I can't speak. So, okay, rewind. The rebels are in a dark room. They're trying to get the door open because they need to send this message to Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's the thing that starts everything in A New Hope. It's that message you see that's sent to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the lights are off. Everything is off. Suddenly you start hearing and if you're a Star Wars fan, you know what that fucking is. You know, like this, like you literally it's just the darkness of the room and you start hearing this. And then his lightsaber turns on and the entire room turns red. And suddenly it becomes this frantic fucking race to get this door open and stall this monster as long as you can. Everyone in this room is dead and they know it. And it is the scariest, coolest shit ever because you're watching Darth Vader menacingly walk forward, slaughtering these poor rebel dudes. that are just trying to fucking stall him just so they can get this fucking thing through the door and get this message delivered. And the frantic nature of it, this like push and pull dynamic where like he's literally this unstoppable force walking towards you. He like lifts a dude in the air, like the ceiling is like really close. He like throws him to the ceiling and slices him in half. He's like walking towards these people. It's so fucking menacing and scary. The music is like building and escalating non-fucking stop. You feel the terror because you're like, Jesus Christ, get this door fucking open. We need to get this. And the sad thing is, the dude doesn't even get through. He literally just gets one hand through and he's like, take this and run. Nobody actually gets out of that room alive. Every single dude dies. They all knew they were fucking dead. You knew they were fucking dead the moment he showed up. That is menace. That is so fucking scary. Like this dude is such a fucking problem that you knew they all knew they were dead. It is my favorite scene in that entire movie. It is probably my favorite Star Wars scene ever. It is so fucking cool. And it is so fucking terrifying. It is literally proper, perfect execution of how you engage terror. He's just slowly walking forward, and these dudes are like throwing themselves at him, trying to stall this man just so this message gets through. They all know they're fucking dead. They all know they're fucking dead. They're not walking out of here. Stranger Things takes inspiration from this scene with their main villain. And it falls so fucking flat. It falls so incredibly flat because they fundamentally understood what made this scene so goddamn effective. One, it's claustrophobic. It's this small hallway with no light. They're fucking stuck. You have the most intimidating bad guy of all time, and they use his iconic sound to tell you he's here just to get you fucking terrified. You have a bad guy and the good guys. And the good guys know who this bad guy is, and they're fucking terrified of him. In Stranger Things, what they do is before the main villain shows up through this big gate thing, they already were fighting dudes. So basically they have the military, which are constantly framed like fucking either incompetent assholes or the villains. They're either incompetent or villains. They're like literally either one or the other. Before the main villain even shows up, they have a big fight with these things called demogorgons. And they're already fucking losing. They're already losing. They only start winning because some dude pulls out a flamethrower, which, by the way, they should have had from the fucking start. I don't know why they didn't have that from the fucking start, considering all these things immediately fall to the ground the moment you pull out a goddamn flamethrower. And then they start winning, quote unquote, by using the flamethrower. And then the villain shows up, and the dudes don't even get scared. They just immediately start shooting. There's no sense of tension or fear. He doesn't come off as intimidating because they were already losing, and you don't view these guys as good guys or anything. It's not about winning or anything. And Stranger Things has had this stupid issue where they never kill off the main cast, so you know he's not going to kill any of them off. There's no real sense of tension. It's just carnage for the sake of carnage. That's what it feels like to me. That's why that scene to me felt incredibly flat. Because it's just carnage. He's just murdering these dudes, and it's just him showing off. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh, I got powers. Oh, look, I'm gonna blow you up with your own grenades and then toss you to like a bigger thing so you all blow up some more. Oh, these guys were like, oh, so intimidating before. I'm like, no, they weren't fucking intimidating. You actively framed the military like they were either incompetent or they were fucking idiots, and you wanted them to lose. So you don't care that this dude's fucking slaughtering them. To me, that fundamentally misunderstood that scene with Darth Vader. It did not create menace. It did not create tension. It didn't do any of that stuff. It just felt flat. It's just, oh, he's just brutally murdering these dudes. It's like, hey, look, we can kill people. Look at how violently we can kill people. That's kind of what it felt like. And it felt really fucking flat. It's just a whole big whatever scene. And I didn't give a shit. And then he just leaves without killing any of the main characters. And then he just berates a high school boy by telling him, "Oh, you started all this. You're a fucking weakling. People like you don't deserve to exist in this world because this is all a gay metaphor. Because gay people shouldn't exist." And then the gay dude gets superpowers and starts knocking everyone out. And that's the cool scene. That's the cool scene. It's like, oh yeah, the gay kid finally feels like empowered because like he's not letting other people tell him how to feel about himself. Good for him. Everything else felt fucking flat, just extra duper flat. Just a whole bunch of whatever. You're just killing these dudes I already didn't give a shit about. You don't appear more intimidating. They gave you a new design for whatever fucking reason, just so you can look cooler. Oh, he looks so cool. But there's no menace. There's no tension. The music doesn't even fucking hit. It doesn't feel intimidating. I'm just like, it's just a whole bunch of whatever fucking kill dudes, whatever. Just, oh, look, the bad guy showed up. Oh, look, the bad guy killed all of these dudes you don't give a fuck ton about. There's no tension. They're not cornered. They're not stuck between anything. Like, that's what made Darth Vader so scary. They're literally stuck in a fucking hallway, and they can't get out. These are military dudes. They don't look scared, and they immediately start shooting. Like, there's no sense of fear. Nothing like that there. The fear that they're trying to rely on from a writing perspective is your own fear. You're like, oh my god, the dude showed up. He's here in person. He's gonna kick all their asses. Holy shit! They're using you. They're not creating fear through the actual narrative scenario. It doesn't actually feel scary. So like, what would have been fucking scary if they had like 11 there. And 11 tries to fight him, and she's no match for him. So she gets her ass fucking handed to her. And you literally think she's gonna fucking die. Like that would be intimidating. That would be effective. Make your heroes look weak as fuck. Make your heroes look weak as fuck. But most of your heroes are just humans, so it doesn't matter. They already can't do anything against these things without, like, planning. And this dude shows up and immediately kicks their ass. He's already overpowered. We know this. The scene just falls incredibly flat. It just feels like carnage for carnage's sake. It just feels like them trying to show off, and it was just a whole bunch of fucking whatever. I'm gonna read the comments. Cool lore tidbit. After he was burned on Mustafar, Anakin Vader was awake during the surgery to strengthen his power in the dark side. Damn! It didn't seem like it. From the way the movie framed it, it didn't seem like it. The anime adaptation of Chapter 218 from the girlfriend will be fully censored, just like Chapter 404 in the manga. So it's better not to be aired and just skip adapting Chapter 218. You don't know this. You don't know this. They might get creative. You don't know. It could be completely censored. You're right. It could be completely censored, or maybe it's not censored at all. You don't know. And I think that chapter should absolutely be adapted. You're completely wrong. That chapter is central to literally all of the fucking conflicts in the story. It is absolutely, you need to adapt it. You can't not adapt it. I don't care if you think it ruins the manga. You need to adapt it. That chapter is essential to the character writing. It is a driving factor of literally everything Kazuya goes through after this point. It cements in the events that happen in Hawaiians. It is absolutely central. You can't. You need that chapter. You can't not have it. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I think they're 100% killing Jonathan based on episode 3's intro. That's a death flag 101. I hope not. I hope they don't kill Jonathan. It'd be cool if they kill Will. I'm cool with them killing Will. I hope they don't kill Jonathan. I don't know what you're referring to with Jonathan's intro in episode 3. What was it again? What was the intro? What happened? I don't remember. Like, what did they do? Because I don't remember. I don't remember seeing any death flags for Jonathan. I'm gonna be real. I did not see any death flags for Jonathan. I could be completely wrong, of course, but I don't recall any death flags for Jonathan. Jonathan was going to propose, and he showed the cassette case. Well, no, that happened in episode 1. Episode 1, he gets the cassette taste, and the dude tells him, "Hey, you'll find it very engaging." So I don't know about that. I don't think so. No, I think the whole point is Jonathan just needs to propose. And actually go for it. Nothing about that seems like a death flag for me. If anything, I feel more death flags for Steve. Steve, ironically, has more death flags than Jonathan. It just it makes a little more sense. There's more death flags for Steve than there are for Jonathan. There's some death flags for 11, but I doubt they'll kill her. All the previous seasons didn't censor Kazuya's imagination, so maybe 218 won't be either. Well, yeah, they just change up how they depict it. There's only one thing that's censored, and it's that scene when Kazuya's watching porn. That's the only thing that's like censored. And everybody saw that and immediately thought, oh, that they must mean they're telling us they're going to censor chapter 218, which could be true. Or maybe it won't be. I don't know. Right before the Vader mask goes on for the first time, you can faintly hear Anakin say, "Padme, help me." Watch it. It's so cool. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember any of this. After what the Duffers did on SNL with the Funkos, I'm scared. What did they do? Wait, what did they do? Duffer Brothers Funkos? I did read your comment. I literally just read it for you. What the fuck? This thing. Henry, Will, Vecna, Joyce. What the hell? I'm so confused. What the hell? That was set in a novel interpretation of the movie Bacon. Okay. Barb. Okay. Steve. Yeah, see? Steve is gonna die. Yeah, Steve is gonna... He falls off the edge. Literally, what was I fucking saying? Steve is gonna fucking die. I don't get this, though. Henry, Will, Vecna. I know Will and Vecna are connected. Because the way they describe Will in like season 1 is the same exact way they describe Henry in season 4. He's a sensitive kid. He's kind of weird or something. Like literally, Joyce, the way she describes Will is the same exact way they described Henry. They literally have like the same fucking backstory. It's kind of goofy. They both like, yeah, no, it's weird. Everyone also believes that there was a scene in the first trailer of the person falling from the sky. People think it was Steve. Jeez. Damn, is Steve gonna like fucking die by falling? That's brutal. Oh, he's gonna fall from the fucking the tower. He's gonna fall from the tower. Oh, that sucks. He's gonna fall from the tower. The tower they showed in season 1, or sorry, not in season 1, in the very beginning, in the first episode. The tower they climbed. He's gonna fall from it. Oh shit. I also think there's going to be time travel. I have a theory that there's going to be time travel, considering they've referenced time travel so fucking much, and they've done it like through like other means. There's totally going to be time travel, like totally. There's so time travel. I would not be surprised if there's time travel. In fact, there was set up for time travel where when the tower is turned off, it's seemingly unplugged. And it's like, wait, who unplugged it? Why was it unplugged? That's weird. So I think someone time traveled and unplugged it. It could be Steve. Maybe Steve like time travels and unplugs it. And then he falls off and dies. I don't know. This could also be how Jonathan goes to, so it's interchangeable with Steve and Jonathan. I think it's supposed to be Steve. I think it's supposed to be Steve. Because if you know anything about Steve, when they initially wrote him, he was supposed to just die off. They weren't supposed to keep him around, but they found the actor so charming that they did. He was supposed to be just this bully that fucking died, and he was a piece of shit. And that's what Billy ended up being. Billy is essentially the original Steve, in a sense. That's what Billy is. Billy is like irredeemable Steve. So it makes sense that by the end of it, this character who was supposed to die from the very fucking start ends up dying in the very end. It makes too much sense. Like, and considering Steve's writing is pretty similar to Eddie, Steve has no future. He doesn't really have much going on for him. Just like Eddie didn't really have a future and didn't really have much going on for him. So it makes sense that like they rob these characters of a future just because they don't have something. And the Duffer Brothers have always gotten shit for not killing people in the main cast. So it's only fitting to kill off Steve. You know, it's the most fitting character to kill because you give him this big fucking redemption. He feels like he really has his shit together now. And then he dies. And then you just hurt Dustin even more. Dustin gonna need a therapist when Steve dies, bro. Can't even get over Eddie. Not his fault. They're just going through grief. And there is a scene from season 5's trailer for part 2 where Steve tells him, "If you die, I die." And this was a line from season 3 where that's what Dustin told him. So I bet Steve will die and tell him, "Don't die, bro." See, I think that's the strength of Stranger Things. I do think its strength, ironically, does not lie in the horror, but the character writing and the idea behind the horror rather than the horror itself. Because a lot of the horror doesn't really land for me with Stranger Things. A lot of it really doesn't land. But the idea behind the horror is far more effective. It's also interesting, like, season 3, by the way, is a big Resident Evil reference. Season 3 is totally a big Resident Evil reference. They even said Resident Evil is one of their inspirations, so I totally fucking believe it. Resident Evil 3 is such a big fucking reference. Oh, sorry, Season 3 of Stranger Things is straight up just a big fucking reference to Resident Evil 3, or just Resident Evil in general. I do think Nancy isn't going to accept Jonathan's proposal. Isn't going to? Why? I think she should. Okay, we're straying off topic. We should be focusing on this. We should be focusing on this. But I should also end it. It's getting late. I got 10 more minutes in me, and then we'll call it. Let's see if there's anything else that I wrote that I could be interesting. So I wrote this for chapter 404. 404 is a chapter that disguises itself as something it is not. Even as everything is burning down, as morals decay, it tells you it's fine, this is normal. It leverages your own bias of comfort, or our want for the curtain, and it pushes it to the absolute limit, asking if this is even a loop at all. Are we in a loop, or is this something else? Oh my god, I was already realizing from the moment it started, this isn't a loop, it was a fucking... Dude, I love how I was already piecing it together that this is a spiral and not a loop. Oh my god, I was already figuring it out. Assumptions and expectations contrasted by facts and desire. Oh wait, there. This is old. It also feels like the story wants us to time travel, to go back and remember things, remember everything carefully, piece it together to see the difference with the events now and what those differences mean. Ruka's wallpapers from the youth and girlfriend expedition. It's in the past. Ruka doesn't match Ruka doesn't match her demeanor. Oh, I must be referring to this. Yeah, how Ruka appears in this photo doesn't match how she appears here. She doesn't match how she looks in the wallpaper. It's the past. Her youth is disappearing. The Ruka in that picture is not the same Ruka as now. She is changing. When desire feels like a trap, when we give in and do something we want, we know we don't want, we do not like, even if we know it's wrong, but we can't help it. But we can't help but do it because our lust for it is just too great. We are often left with nothing but disappointment after. Ruka looks empty here. Oh, that's what I'm referring to. So in this scene, let's see. When desire feels like a trap, when we give in and do something we know we do not like, even if we know it's wrong, but we can't help it but we can't help but do it because our lust for it is just too great. We are often left with nothing but disappointment after. Ruka looks empty here because emotionally she is. She's not proud of what she did. She knows it was wrong, but like when someone is addicted to something and regret it after, she couldn't stop herself. She needed more. And like with any addiction, you are not happy after because in the end it's not what you want. It was never going to be. The addiction of love. It's dangerous and deceptive. It appears like love, but it is more in line with lust. It is about an intense desire that is inconsistent. One moment it is like a blazing fire. One moment it is like a blazing fire. The next, it's like darkened ice. The 4 of 5 is that exact whiplash. Wow. Look at me go. Look at me go. In chapter 185's cover, we can see this exact addiction, a chapter where Ruka does something quite similar, forcing her love on Kazuya, who does not feel the same way. But she's a cute anime girl, so it's fine. Except it's not. Ruka is drawn as dangerous here. Even Kazuya freaks and starts backing away. Oh, I'm talking about chapter 185. So this is the picture I'm referring to. We can see this exact addiction here in this cover, a chapter where Ruka does something quite similar. Let's see. Forcing her love on Kazuya, who does not feel the same way. But she's a cute anime girl, so it's fine, except it's not. Ruka is drawn dangerous here. Again, look at the way he draws her hair, how she looks. Even Kazuya freaks out and starts backing away. Something is clearly wrong. These sudden turns are not love. Ruka is not always like this. Usually she's cute and calm, but there's always that fear there's always that fear in the back of our mind that she will explode like this because what she and Kazuya have clearly isn't enough for her, but she refuses to let go. Ruka looks let's see here. Ruka looks empty here, disappointed, like she has nothing left. It feels like she came off of a high. One second she was sweating and emotional, suddenly she's calm and semi-dressed. Ruka feels alien. This sudden shift in demeanor also makes her more intimidating. You're literally experiencing whiplash. This is not the same person. One second she was all smiles, then she was kissing Kazuya and emotionally driven. Now she's calm, unhappy, and stoic. It's jarring and feels out of control despite how in control Ruka appears. And that's what makes it so dangerous. She literally grows She literally grows alongside the panels, aging up in front of our eyes. Suddenly, this little kid isn't so little anymore. She's the one in control, and Kazuya is no longer in control in his own home, and Kazuya is no longer in his home, but the tiger's den. What Ruka did was twist the meaning of the word home. Kazuya's own home no longer feels safe. It's a dangerous place where he was assaulted, and the person who did it now stands in the middle of the home and acts like it is hers. As if to say, you let me in, and now you have to let me stay. This to me feels like about remembering our humanity. The small Ruka is seemingly the small Ruka is about the loss of humanity, the loss of connection, but also about reclaiming our humanity, remembering who we are. In showing things such as AI, one-sided relationships, and separation, Reiji is showing us what is really important: that love can stop us from doing horrible things and losing ourselves. In Hawaiians, Ruka calls Chizuru a slut, uses a condom to get Chizuru back to back off, treating sex like a big milestone and cementing a relationship in stone. Yet here, she is disregarding all of that. And when Chizuru tells her she should cherish her first time it's important, Ruka asks if she ever had sex. Yeah, so there's all that stuff. I said Ruka is crazy and wild. That's not what I was saying. That's literally not what I was saying. Can you stop using that language? I don't like it. I don't like it. Horror movies don't scare me. Caroline got me more and more scary. The more and more scary, the more I thought about it. The relationship since he left from Cali is why they have moved backwards and have turned into completely different people. I don't think they're moving backwards. I know you're referring to Nancy and Jonathan. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't agree with that. I don't think they're moving backwards. I think I think they've stagnated. The problem is Jonathan's not being honest, and I think Nancy knows that. I think Nancy knows Jonathan's not being honest. That's why she keeps playing along with Steve. She knows Steve is doing this thing, and she lets Steve do it until Jonathan says something. I think that's what Nancy's doing. Be like, hey, fucking tell me what you're thinking. I know you're lying. I know you're not being honest. Like, I think Nancy can tell. I made the mistake of watching Annabelle right before my therapy session, but also chugging an energy drink right before the movie. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I was curious about seeing Stranger Things, like the finale in theaters, because the theater near me is showing it, but the theaters are like all fucking full. So I'm like, whatever. I'll just watch something else. I've been thinking of like watching the new Avatar, but I didn't like Avatar 2. I think visually it's a spectacle. I think visually it's an absolute spectacle. I've never been really into the fucking stories. I think the stories are like mediocre as fuck. The Ring scared me as a kid. That's the movie that fucking scared me as a kid. It was The Ring. Okay. I think I'm going to call it here. I had about 10 more minutes. We've hit that milestone. So yeah, I hope this was fun. We'll stream again in 2 days. For chapter 406, the last chapter of this year, which should be really, really interesting. It's gonna set a tone. It's gonna set a precedent. We're gonna have an idea of what to expect. I'm gonna be that guy and say the movie date. I got the perfect movie and picks The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring extended edition. I'm doomed. Wait, why would you watch the fellowship, the extended version of the Fellowship of the Ring, the 3-hour version? Just show her the normal version. That would work perfectly fine. Lord of the Rings is peak. Lord of the Rings is actually really fucking good. But just normal version, not extended version. Extended version is a fucking mistake. You should only watch the extended versions of Lord of the Rings afterwards if you're new to the series. Because those movies are too long. I would never recommend someone start with like the complete extended versions. That's a fucking mistake waiting to happen. You should start with the normal versions. I'm more so making fun of myself and the Big Bang Theory. I've actually never seen Big Bang Theory. It seemed funny from the little bit I saw of it, but I've never actually properly seen it. Yeah. Oh fuck, I haven't been checking. Oh, man, I was supposed to open Twitch and I never did. Fuck. I was supposed to open Twitch and I never did. Oh man. Oh man, if someone like commented, I'll feel so bad. Oh. It seems absolutely quiet. Literally nothing. There's literally, damn, there's nothing. Not even like a comment from my thing. It's weird. Well, that's an L we're just gonna take. Okay. And with that, I'll call it a day. I also forgot to give my annual check Twitch chat message to remind you. Oops. Dude, it's okay. I'm incredibly behind on Twitch and all that stuff. So it's fine. It's all good. But that said, see you guys later. Thank you for watching. I hope this was a very interesting thing for you guys. And I'll see you guys in 2 days. 2 days. And we're gonna see how this year is gonna end with this series. Alrighty. Take care, y'all. See you later.